When the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. The year is 2022. The movie is rated PG-13. It is 2 hours and 55 minutes long. It is named The Batman. This is lunch break.
Yeah! What's blue and what's blue and
Good.
paper background and listen to all over?
Blue.
What's a blue font and has a papery looking background and listen to all over? You're not as smart as I thought you were, Captain.
They should have called this movie The Captain because, hey, honestly, it's his ship now.
Hey, man, we saw the Batman, and you know what time it is. It's time for the classic lunch break movie review.
Our fans love it. What was the movie that someone online said we were, hella nasty to?
Ghostbusters.
That's what it was. Okay.
And hey, if you're a fan of the Batman or you're just trying to see what we thought of it, you're probably going to be mad at us because we probably are going to talk major spoilers.
Yes.
And major shade.
We're going to be shading this movie left and right. And I will just right off the bat say,
right off the bat?
wipe out. I'm going to say this. It's my favorite movie of the year.
Wow!
Does that mean that it is early in March and there's still a lot of the year yet left to go?
Yes.
Does that mean that I'm not going to talk major shade? Does that mean that I am not going to talk? I will.
Yeah.
But it's all in good fun.
And let me just say, without getting into spoilers, I loved it. And I will make fun of it ruthlessly on this next 3+ hour podcast review episode.
Smash those comments.
But I'll also talk about how much I loved it, okay?
Taking my coat off. Now, before we get into the movie, we are going to tease something.
Yes.
There is a snack out, and you probably are unaware of what we are talking about, but it ties in with the film.
Snack out!
And we want to talk about this snack, okay? But we want, if you came here just for the movie review and you don't give an effing arc about any sort of... His mother's name is Arkham. If you did not care about food, we're gonna put this at the end of the episode. So if you sit through this movie review and you're like, I love these guys, these lunch break ding dong heads, then stick around for the snack, and we're gonna tell you what it.
Tell them what it is. Oh no! Shoot. Who is
Landon,
it?
hold on.
Oh, he's got to get out his. Oh, he's got to get out his mask.
I'm getting a message from someone.
Oh, no.
It's about the snack. Quick, stall for time.
Oh, okay. Here's what I'll say about the...
All right, I got it.
Okay.
Oh, the lunch break, boys.
Oh, my God. It's the Ringler.
I was hoping I would see you here.
No. No.
I've got a Ringler for you.
Okay.
What is covered in rogue, but wrapped in wheat, made to look like a bat's favorite treat. Don't overthink its name too much, for it sounds like a crime family, but tastes like lunch. It wasn't supposed to end like that.
Calzony.
It's the hot and ready Little Caesars calzone in their special Batman thing. It says Batman on the top.
And
Now,
it's shaped like the bat. Is it not?
it is shaped like the bat. And now we are going to get into our review. But this will come after the review. I am vengeance. Landon, it was great to hear how much you dislike the movie. Wait. That's a cut point.
I have one more joke that I want to say about the tease.
Oh, no, do it. By all means. About the tease.
So, you know how sometimes you sit through a movie and there's a little post-credit scene? Well, our post-credit scene to this podcast is as disappointing as the one for the Batman.
To which my betrothed said, are they going to do it? Are they going to, because I made her sit there and wait for 20 minutes, and she said, are they going to do it? And I said, they just did it. You looked at your phone.
Oh!
And then she said, well, what was it? And I said, let's just go.
So let's get into the movie.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, Jeffrey Wright, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell. I think he doesn't even look like him. And
Turturro.
Yes, John Turturro.
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård. He shows up. Mm-hmm. And who else? It seems like there's one other that I'm not even...
Yeah, Reeves kind of reached into his back pocket with this movie and really pulled out some A-plus talent.
Oh, Paul Dano, of course.
Oh, I didn't even... I just assumed you had said that.
Playing the Riddler. So, how do we do this? How do we do movie reviews? Every time we do this, we sit down to do a movie review. I can't remember how we do them.
Okay, let's talk about a little bit about... Here's a little story about how the world is blue. Music has come so far. Let's talk about how this movie... What were your thoughts going in? Were you ready for a new Batman film?
Was I ready for a new Batman film?
Dealing with the Justice League...
I don't want any of that. People are like, give Ben Affleck one chance. No, I don't care. I didn't even mind Ben Affleck, okay? I actually liked him as Batman, Bruce Wayne. That's fine. He was the best parts of those overlong, bloated pieces of crap movies, okay? But people, because of course he was supposed to have his own Batman movie called The Batman that he was going to direct. And I think he wrote it and starred.
I don't know if because he said he looked at it.
Oh, maybe he didn't write it.
Did you read that thing?
No.
Where he said he looked at the movie, read the script, and he said, whoever does this movie should be happy to do it.
Wow.
And he was like, I would not be happy. He was pretty upfront with it. He's just like, he's like, it's a lot of people's dreams to do a Batman movie, and not my dream.
Wow. Well, I know that we don't need to talk about this. We're here to talk about the Batman that we have, not the one we could have had.
Well, that might come into play because did you like Pattinson as your new Batman?
Yes!
I'm vengeance.
Did you not?
Yeah, he's fine. I don't think they gave him much to work with.
No, they didn't.
It's kind of, he's sad.
Here's what I'll say. Okay, so no, I was happy to move on from the whole DCEU.
Because they've kind of restructured everything.
Yes.
You're not dealing with that. It is still gritty, yes, and dark and gritty, as everyone likes to say.
Yes.
But in a different way.
This was very much... I liked Robert Pattinson. I thought he looked more like Batman than anyone has ever looked. His jaw is... the biggest jaw I've ever seen.
Which makes you wonder why they don't know automatically that it's Bruce Wayne.
Well, yeah, it is funny because the two times he's not Batman, because they barely show him as not Batman, which is fine with me. I actually quite like. But I just kept looking at his jawline and thinking, God, his jaw's huge.
Yeah.
This guy's hot.
Yeah. Throughout the movie, he is a dark, brooding snack.
Yes. Yes. Just like this.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Little Caesars snack that we will not talk about until the end of the episode.
Yes, and we haven't touched.
I just might take another bite.
I'm
thinking about it.
Of the Batman.
So, yes.
And I found that he looked more like the comic version because his white eyes and the cowl and his big, big jaw and he's trimmer than, of course, than Ben Affleck, who is a big meat slab.
Yeah, big meat slab. And then you've got
Christian Bale
was kind of skinny.
He was skinny, but he was also like kind of clunky.
Yeah.
Like his suit was clunky. And then, of course, back in the rubber suit days.
Right. Can't turn your head.
Can't turn your head.
For what? You know. You can't.
You can't. Not for what?
No. No cap.
So I liked Robert Pattinson a lot.
Yeah, and speaking of his suit and his look, I think it plays very well with this. They are going back to the animated series look, the Art Deco style, the Gothic noir.
Gotham has never looked more like Gotham in its whole life on film.
Nope. No.
Exactly.
And it's real. It's there. It's physical. You can touch it.
I hate when people say this, but Gotham is a character. There. Okay?
Well, we're talking about how, and right now as we record this, I don't want to sound like heroes, like our masked crusader.
Yes.
And like the, intro to the movie where they showed clips of the Batman. Did you get this?
No.
They showed a DC trailer where they showed clips of like The Flash and Black Adam and Batman and said 2022 belongs to the heroes.
Oh.
And like they're reinventing themselves with Black Adam. So, yes, we are heroes too because we are recording this during a tornado watch.
That's right.
So
people don't know that, and they should.
They should know that.
Now
they should just be out there. But much like that, this entire movie is just drenched. It's just raining the entire movie.
Wet.
The whole movie is wet, and it's kind of alluding to the end of the movie, wouldn't you say, Landon?
I would say so.
It's just all wet, and this whole town needs an enema.
Thank you. So, should we try to go through the plot?
Yeah, and I'll just say, just starting right from the very beginning of the movie, what they're doing makes me smile, and I love Matt Reeves. I love all the Planet of the Apes movies that he did.
He's great.
Just the having Batman not be there and just accentuating the fact that people are scared of him.
It's the greatest opening of a Batman movie ever.
They are scared of the dark. He's just a guy looking down a dark alleyway.
Yes, and it's scary almost to the audience. At least to me, I was feeling tense. At any moment, he could pop out.
And they're pulling from the long Halloween.
Yes.
It is October 31st.
Raining.
This town needs an enema.
Well, and what do you think of the voiceover? The fact that we get a voiceover. And it is actually a journal.
Yeah.
He's keeping his Gotham Project journal.
I like it. When I went to film school and all these narcs that are teachers are like, if you need a voiceover, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
You're not doing the plot right. Well, guess what? You do, because it's a comic book.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like watching a comic being read to you.
Yeah.
Because that's what you get in a comic.
You get the little square on the side that says,
I am the shadow. Me,
and it
shadow.
says, for more on why Batman is the shadow, turn to page 30 in Batman Goes to Town, episode 7, editor.
Episode 7, editor.
So you're getting that here.
You're kind of getting
And you're
that.
like, where's he going to show up? Is it the petty criminal? He doesn't have time for that. He can't be everywhere at once.
No.
He's not actually Santa. He's a man.
He's just a man.
God. Is he going to be at this thing where the guy gets punched?
No, not quite. He's going to be at the
He's going to be at the next one where the guy really is going to get punched.
By a whole group of criminals and one half criminal.
Knock him out. Yeah, and you get a little story there too.
Yeah.
He's not quite
there yet. He's on the edge.
He needs to earn his other half of his face.
Yes.
Knock him out.
Knock him out.
Knock him out.
Do it.
And then from the shadows I hear, this town needs an enema.
Dom, 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 dom.
You don't even know if he's there yet either.
Dom, dom, dom.
You just hear clunk, clunk, clunk.
God, what a great opening, though.
And then he just destroys this guy.
He destroys the guys.
Awesome.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much we can say about this movie.
I thought this was going to be long, but it's actually quite short. This movie rules.
So then he goes and meets Selena. They hit it off swell.
No, well, how did you feel of right off the bat?
Whoa!
We get the Ave Maria. We get the POV of the Riddler man.
Which, and you're not sure who this is, because I thought all these Batman movies we get, you always have to, or any superhero movie lately, you always have to redo the beginning. It's like when they do year 0 every 2 years in comics.
Right. They're like, so Batman's parents died. Remember?
They know that we know the backstory. And also, you know what? If you don't, it doesn't matter. He tells you. He's been doing this for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
He's doing it for his family.
Yeah.
Great. And because you see a kid that kind of will remind him of himself.
Indeed.
Dressing up like a superhero, pretending to kill his own father.
Right.
Only to find out that night that his father has been brutally slain.
Yes.
And we're not sure who's the man with the binoculars. Who's the man with the binoculars?
Well, and what's interesting is later on in the movie, we'll get the same POV shot of the B-Man doing it. We are the POV of the B-Man. We are looking at Selena Kyle in her whitey tighties.
This movie is... We are voyeurists into the horny world of the B-Man. First, you've got the naughty Riddler, who sees the man and his family with all their money and all their gold, all their furniture.
A kid that he loves.
A kid that he loves.
Well, that's just pissing you off as the Riddler. I mean, you're like, I could have had that. I should have.
And you didn't. So we get that, and that's when I say this movie is off to a great start.
Yeah. And you know what's also great? That big old font at the beginning.
They don't do the here's 10 minutes of the movie and then Batman beats someone up and it cuts to black and says the Batman.
No.
Here it is. It's bigger than the screen.
It's coming off the screen. It's
this
3D.
is the Batman. You idiots. Look at this.
I love that.
Just right away. I didn't even have time to think the Batman. Whoa, okay.
I love that.
That's maybe why you think, oh, maybe this is the Batman. He's not. No. He's a Riddler man. Who is this? He's watching TV for a very long time. I'm just going to say this. The movie's 3 hours long. Good. I think people are coming around to the fact that if we go to the movies, I want an event. So many of these action movies, it just feels like montages or that so much is cut in post. Yeah. They're like, we got to keep up the pace. Keep it moving, yeah. Like, even with the Justice League movies and stuff, they're so long, but it's like, there's got to be something. And when there's nothing happening, what they're talking about is so boring that you hate it. This movie thrives in the underground.
Yes.
You need these long moments to be in Batman's tiny little skull and his big chin.
Yes.
You need to sit. You need to watch this man just watching TV. To be scared of what's behind him.
So great.
You need to be with him for how long he is watching TV.
Well, and not only that, so it expertly increases the tension the longer it is, but also you're getting what do you call it?
Yeah.
Exposition.
Yeah.
On the TV. You're getting that he's the mayor, he's a good boy, he does a renewal plan. And Thomas Wayne did renewal plan until he was slain in the streets like a dirty old gimp. And you get that the mayor who is fighting for real change, Mayor Real.
Yeah, interesting.
So you get all that while you're watching the TV, and then he gets the call, and he's saying, I'm watching it. How am I not winning? I do good, or whatever.
You said I'd be up in the polls. You say I do good.
You get all this stuff, and what you come to find is that he's probably talking to freaking someone bad on that phone, isn't he? Not just his campaign manager or something like that. He's probably talking to Mr. Falcone.
And with the glint of the TV in the dark, he's watching this on TV. Why? Because we can see someone's glasses glinting behind him.
Yes.
Who is this in the shadows?
Everyone with clear frames winces when they see they have to get new glasses.
Because we will think you are a psychopath from now on.
Do you think you could be a psychopath? Name that movie.
No.
So then he kills a mayor.
Yeah, pretty brutal for this PG-13 movie with this child sitting in front of me. And at this moment, he drops his Skittles, his M&Ms. He's probably so terrified to hear the clunk, shunk, dunk, and then the... This guy can't breathe in this thing.
He can't breathe in his mask.
I love it. Scary sounds.
Scary sounds. with
then
Larry.
we get your classic setup of the cops. They hate Batman.
And what is so great? Do we ever get to see on screen Batman walking through a crime scene like that?
Because he always has to do it after hours.
Yeah, or he's there first, and then he gets away before the cops.
They
get
come there and they're
like,
like, "What the hell's he doing here?"
and Gordon's like, hey, he's with me. But then he's gone by the time he turns around. None of that with this.
How's he keep doing that?
Gordon brings him in. Gordon's with him. I love Gordon
time.
in this, by the way. Jeffrey Wright. What I always say about Jeffrey Wright is he's the best worst actor. I'm always compelled when he.
Oh my God, Landon! Someone upstairs does not like what you just said.
He's the best actor.
Jeffrey Wright is always right.
He has a way of saying all of his lines in a way that's both compelling and also like maybe he's not a good actor.
But for this movie,
He's perfect.
because this movie is over the top. What's happening in this movie is dumb. There's a man dressed as a bat that clunks around town, and this man believes him.
Yes.
He says, "You are a good person and you are a superhuman man." That's funny.
Yeah.
But there's dialogue here that just seems like it's from the comics.
Yeah. It's great.
I love it. And he's got that voice, that gravelly little,
Yeah.
"What do you think, Captain?" And he's like, "I don't know, Captain."
I love that Batman is, and we don't have to go through every scene like this, but this is your first introduction to Batman as the detective, and it's awesome. He is seeing things that they're not seeing, and I especially like when there's the forensic photographer or whatever taking pictures, and Batman just kind of looks at her and then looks down at another bloodstain that she hadn't seen, and then he just looks down at it and then just walks away, and she's like, and then she goes and takes a picture of it. God, that's good. He's seeing things, and then he does something else that they are like, "Is that your car?"
Is that from the Thunder?
Probably was like, "I'm scared."
Charlie. Oh my! This is so embarrassing. My car is
so embarrassing.
I've never had my car alarm go off because of the thunder. That's not true. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
All right, now you talk.
We finally get a Batman movie that is a detective movie. Yes, in the past he is solving crimes and there's clues and what have you, but this is a detective story. It is truly a crime noir story with a guy that can kick major ass. So he's on the case. The other cops don't like it, and then Pete comes in. "What are you doing?" There is so much going on outside. We look out the windows. I'm seeing lightning. I'm seeing thunder. Yeah. And what better movie to talk about this when this movie's completely drenched, Landon? Can I say that again?
Yeah.
So from here, Batman goes home and he takes his contact out, which has recorded everything. It sees all. And who's there but Mr. Alfrino? "Hello, Batman." He comes downstairs. Another actor did we say Andy Serkis at the top?
No, we didn't.
A shame that we didn't.
He's good too, huh?
He's great in everything.
Yeah.
Just looking at Batman, you can see his care for the young boy. Mm-hmm. You can see that you go, "I hope he doesn't die.
Yeah.
Please don't kill this man."
But also you see that he's a little fed up with the twerp.
Yeah. He hates that he's doing this.
Yeah. I hope that my one kind of a qualm with the movie is that we don't, like, later on we get the moment where Bruce Wayne finally admits that he does love Alfred. Kind of. He's like, "The only time I've ever felt fear since the day my daddy done did
Takes
it."
10 minutes.
Yeah. is kind of when I was driving over here to look at you in the hospital. But also I have to say that I couldn't quite make out all the dialogue in this scene because while I was watching it, I was laughing, and also my betrothed was also laughing because as soon as the scene starts in the hospital and we see Alfred with scarred up face, she turns to me and says, "He's got a face on his nose." And sure enough, when they cut back to Alfred, there looks to be a little face on his nose that is like the scarring and blood looks like a face. So she says that to me. It cuts back to Alfred. I go, and then we can't stop laughing. So I didn't really hear much of that.
Much. It's really just him talking around the point that he finally gets to having that fear that this would happen again to someone I care about.
Right.
And then
they hold
Circus
hands.
busts the tears out.
Yes.
He doesn't say, "I love you," or "You are my daddy. You
Right.
are my daddy."
And then he puts his hand out. I did see that.
Slowly puts his hand out, and
after 10 minutes.
yeah, you kind of look at his eyes go wide, and he's like, and then he holds his hand, and then at that very second, looks at the sky. He can't give this guy a break.
No.
Alfred's doing his damnedest. He just woke up from an explosion. "Why didn't you tell me my dad's Maroni Falcone?"
I know.
He's like, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
We certainly are.
He goes home.
Alfred.
I don't want to do it, but I got to help this kid with his stupid little
Cipher.
Mm-hmm. And then he helps him as much as he can, and then Batman's like, "What if you didn't do any of that?" And he deletes all his work, and it says, "Drive, baby."
Yeah. So then they go to the mayor's garage and get in one of his cars, and he's looking for...
Because you can drive cars, but there's also a drive
in the car. And, of course, they cut off the mayor's thumb.
So it's a thumb drive.
Yeah.
It's all very funny and clever, and people are laughing in the theater. People are going... They eat their popcorn.
Well, that's what's interesting about the movie, too, is a lot of people are saying it's humorless. People that don't like it. Too dark, humorless. There's not one iota of sunshine in the whole movie. Except very expertly when there needs to be. When there's a little bit of hope at the end. Anyway, we'll get to it.
Also, who cares? I've seen movies that are serious.
It's Batman. It's not... I mean, what do you want? What do you want? Shut up. So, there is moments... There are moments of comedy in the movie.
Yeah.
But they are not jokes. They're not people telling jokes to each other. Like in some of the Christopher Nolan Batmans, you will have Alfred and Bruce ribbing each other.
Yeah.
And that's funny. And I like that version of Batman too. But this ain't it yet. He's not there yet. He's still angry, sad, and vengeful. He's not joking around with anyone.
He is mourning Mem Mem and Pep Pep, and his butler man needs to kind of understand that and back off. Why don't you?
Yeah. Do you like that Wayne Manor looks like a Gothic church? Yeah.
That, to me, is weird. Just in the fact that it's so cold. The idea is that he grew up, and there's some of this always with Batman, but the idea is it's always supposed to be so warm. He had a loving childhood.
Right.
You look like you live in like the haunted mansion.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like, this is my life now, but not before. You should have your mansion be nice and inviting, but it is in ruin.
Right.
He does not take care of it, and Alfred tries his damnedest to keep up appearances, but he chains the bedroom shut.
Right. He chains it shut.
Don't go in there.
So yeah, I found that weird too, but it's also fine because it looked cool.
Yeah, it looks cool, so what do I care?
But I do like the idea that, like, I don't know, when Batman was created in the 30s, maybe someone living in a mansion like that made a little more sense. But now so like 30 years ago, Thomas and Martha Wayne were like, yeah, I think this one looks good for us.
We'll take it.
In the 80s or whatever.
Is there electricity? No. Is there there's a skylight with a big glass ceiling? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll raise our son here. So that's kind of fun and interesting. So what else happens?
So they did move there in the 90s. And after that, God, now I'm trying to think about the movie.
I know.
This is why we need notes, because people listen to this and they listen to us talk about the movie, and then I can't even remember what happened next, and they're screaming at me because you're not on the hot seat right now. Okay.
Well, and also so much happens in this movie.
It's a long movie.
It's long. The plot is intricately but smartly woven.
Mm-hmm.
And Catwoman.
She comes up because he goes to the club.
He goes to the Iceberg Lounge to see the Penguin.
How do you feel about the Penguin?
Here's what I will say. Colin Farrell was great as the Penguin. Yes, he's unrecognizable. Can we not just get Richard Kind to play the Richard Kind looking guy? Can we not just get someone that looks like that, is my point?
You have to wonder when.
It's just to do it.
Uh-huh.
And that's fine. It's fun, I guess. I'm sure it was fun for Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell's a great actor.
He is.
He's had his ups and downs in the past where he's kind of the bad boy. And he's like, yeah, I'll be in a movie, but I'll also smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
And that's just the way he is. But he's doing a great accent in this.
Yeah.
But that's the he is so far removed from himself.
You could just
can't get
someone.
anyone to.
Yeah.
He's doing, he's like, you bad cop, bad bat.
Yeah.
And that's got to be certainly from the twisted mind of Colin Farrell.
Absolutely. He's like, I got something there.
But you really are just, you can't tell it's him.
Yeah.
He just changed his voice, changed his look. So why do it?
Why do it?
Like, how did they come to the agreement?
Right.
How did they decide to have him do this?
You know who's perfect for the Penguin? Colin Farrell in heavy prosthetics and makeup. Like, yeah, I can see that. Okay. It's just weird. It's one of those things. Or maybe he was trying out to be the Batman, and they're like Cillian Murphy in the Batman Begins. They're like, I just like you. You're actually a freak though, so we'll make you the villain.
He could just be friends with someone, and they like him, and they know he's good at acting.
Yeah, they're like, you can do a New York accent thing, right?
And they added enough, but they did create an entire new person.
Yeah,
I don't really look at him and see prosthetics. If I didn't know that going in, I'd just be like, whoa, this guy is weird.
Yeah. I know. It is funny that way. Of like,
and I thought maybe they would make him a little bigger because they are doing that. I thought the purpose was that no person looks like the penguin.
Yeah. So they need to make him a big circle, basically.
Yeah, but they just made him kind of like a heavy guy.
Yeah. He's just, that's what I mean. He's just basically a normal looking guy with scars. Get Richard Kind.
Yeah.
Put some scars on him. Can you imagine?
How you doing, sweetheart?
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
He'd
See
do
him
it.
do something a little dark, and
He could do it. I guarantee he could.
Mm-hmm. Let's ask him. We should have him on the show and see if he would do it.
All right, maybe next week.
Okay.
So I don't know if we should go through the whole plot.
I don't think we need. I mean, people know what the plot is. I think,
They don't need us to tell them. If you're listening to this, you saw the movie. Okay.
and if not, pause it. Go see the movie. Give us a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Hit that subscribe
Subscribe
button.
button.
Hit the bell to get notified whenever we drop a new diddly.
Let's see.
What did you? So I guess we could just in general.
Yeah.
What did you like?
Okay. Let's see. I like all of Gotham. I like the fact that the Iceberg Lounge is a crazy freaking club. It just looks insane.
And then they say,
There's a
well,
club.
did you go to 44 below?
Right.
Club within the club.
Club within the club. And he's like, the club? Within the club? There are a couple times where Batman is asking the dumbest questions ever. And it's like, we all know. And I know why you're doing it, because you have to shoot for the lowest common denominator in the audience who's
Right.
like, what the heck's going on? So Batman has to be like, wait, you're saying there's another club in the club?
Okay, I know we're talking about things we like.
Yeah, we were.
My biggest problem with that was they needed Selena to get to the breaking point where she can say that Macaroni Falcone is her dad.
Yes.
But to do that, they had to turn Batman into this guy that doesn't understand a woman working in a position.
A woman
He doesn't understand a woman, period. Because
No.
she kisses him and he just like puts his tongue in his own nose.
He's like,
what you do. But he doesn't understand that she could be working at this place against her will. And
Right.
because the idea is that you think that they've had this relationship.
Yeah.
And I would assume not of her choice.
right.
These are all just misogynistic, creepy men that go to this club to cheat on their wives. And
Yes.
like, that's the idea. They're criminals, and she's been forced into work there, like her mom.
Right.
He doesn't know that yet, but he can't just be like, he's like, you must have had some sort of relationship with him.
Yeah, he gets weird about that. But here's what I will say. I think it was mostly to show that he has such a privileged life. Even still, his parents are dead, but he still comes from such a privileged perspective that he actually can't fathom that until he's told.
I understand that as well, but he's supposed to be one of the world's greatest detectives.
I know.
That he can't read
He can't
just like human behavior a little bit.
Right.
He's like, well, you must have had some relationship with him. And like, what do you mean you know, like.
Yeah. I agree.
It's just a little bit because they need to get her to the, because I'm like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't get Me Too at all.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the internet. He just doesn't
Well, that's another funny thing because you brought up this earlier, and this was kind of one of my big points that I wanted to get to.
Thank you.
This movie is bad. is obviously made with the presupposition that you as an audience member know everything about Batman that you need to know. And largely the audience does. We don't need to see I'm fine with all that. I agree that you don't need to see his parents dying and all that
Thank
stuff.
God. If I had to watch this one more time, if you're going to keep busting a new one of these out every 2 years.
Yeah. And I agree. So I'm happy they didn't do that.
Thank you.
I do think it, just as its own movie, was maybe a little lacking in the fact that, like, why do we as an audience care so much that his dad maybe accidentally, like, asked a favor of a bad guy? Mm-hmm. Like, and it wasn't even that big of a deal. Like, the favor he asked compared to the stuff that Batman is seeing happen in his city is, like, he wanted his mom to not be known as a crazy person. I don't know. But anyway, that's beside the point.
And, well, spinning off of that a little bit,
Sure.
and people can just get in the comments here. He, again, like, I'm getting stuff from the scene with Falcone that clearly his dad did not ask him to do this.
Right.
He is basically telling him he didn't want to take the money, and he asked me to handle it.
Right.
And yes, he should have known that he's going to handle it
Yes.
this way. And it then he has to go see Alfred to be like, you sniveling little buffoon.
You told me my dad never killed anyone.
Yeah, and he's
but
like,
he actually
didn't.
did.
Like, he made a mistake in asking a criminal to handle something for him. And I got that, but it's like he needs that moment with Alfred to be like, you still have so much to learn, you dumb little twerpster.
Yeah. Yeah, some of that stuff didn't...
It's just like you're having the same conversation twice when it could have maybe been condensed. That's all. I like the movie.
I like the movie too. But, so that goes to your point of, like, why does Bruce Wayne... the audience is supposed to know everything about Bruce Wayne, basically. Mm-hmm. But Bruce Wayne doesn't know anything about the world outside of himself. Like, Me Too, and, like, that women sometimes have to be in... Like, or women and poor people are oftentimes doing things that they don't necessarily want to do just to get by.
And then but then she's like, that's where, like, my mom worked there, and he had me as a kid, obviously, basically in the same situation that we're assuming she's in.
Right.
Where, because she works at this club, she had to get nasty with this guy.
Right.
They have a kid, and then he disowns her.
Yeah.
You know, but then Batman's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. It's like, well.
And then she's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't that big of a... Which I would have... I don't know. In the comics, there's such a rich history of them going back and forth on things.
Yeah.
His method versus her method. Kill, don't kill.
And she's
criminal
right, 'cause
versus good guy.
She does bring up the fact that, you know, he is a rich twerp.
Yeah.
And that she's like, you don't even understand.
Yeah.
You can't fathom having to work in a place you don't want to be.
Right.
Or be in a relationship or like deal with people. And he should see that earlier because all these people are doing more drops than you can imagine.
I know. Yeah, he sometimes is a little stubborn to the point of stupidity, I would think.
But it's all good and well because this is the best Batman movie we've seen thus far in our young lives.
Yeah.
Speaking of Landon, would you try drops?
They look fun.
Yeah. Want a drop?
A little
I'm just
candy.
like, lemon drop?
A whole bunch of drop heads.
Kind of.
Don't say that with a straight face. How can you?
Yeah,
But
it's a made-up drug.
They do, and it's
Bunch
awesome.
of drop heads.
Another one of my favorite scenes. Okay, well, this is going... I can't get into good and bad without talking about both. I can't. I'm sorry.
Landon hit me with it. I got a stomach full of Little Caesars that's not going over well.
And there's a tornado approaching. One of my favorite scenes in the movie, Batman and Gordon are both in the police precinct. Well, Batman wakes up with all the cops surrounding him, like they want to take his mask off and they want to finger him, as in to say they want to point the finger at him.
Yeah.
And he wakes up. He starts punching people, and Gordon's like, "Ah, stop it! This ain't how we're gonna do this." And they're like, "He's your guy. Take care of him." And then they have a little secret conversation where they're 1 inch from each other's face.
Getting closer and closer.
You go up the back door.
What are they going to do to you?
Well, you're gonna punch me.
Who's that guy with the broken nose in the back with the mustache?
Kolinsky.
Kalinsky who? That's his last name. What's his first name? Kalinsky.
Kalinsker. His name's Kalinsky.
Wait, who's that guy?
So, but I love that scene. I know we're making fun of it, but it's awesome.
They got him to the police station. They're all like, let me get at him. Let me get at his
Yeah.
mask. They got him to the police station without
on, we can't be
anyone
doing
trying to
that.
finger him a little earlier.
Yeah, you would think, but I don't know. Maybe I don't remember.
The scene is so tense before that, leading up to this. I love this.
What
this
is it? I can't remember.
It's the funeral, the memorial service.
God, yes, that's my favorite scene of the movie.
Oh, God. We get the recluse. He comes out of his cave. Mr. Wayne. And then he's like, hey, kid, how you doing? Your daddy. I got shot. Right here.
Yeah.
Right here. His daddy laid me down on the table, operated on me, this little rich twerp.
Yeah.
Upstairs, no doubt. Saw me on the table with his wife, that lady Goyle. She's sitting there and his daddy's operating on me and he saved me. Not for nothing. And he goes, my dad's the Hippocratic Oath. He goes, oh! Hypocrite. Good one. Excuse me. And then he goes inside and a little poor man goes, rich people suck. And he goes, don't I know you from somewhere?
Yeah.
And then someone says, that's Bruce Wayne. It's funny. They just know how to get you with a boom ba 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 doom ba doom.
They sure do.
And then guess what happens?
About that poor guy, though.
About that poor guy.
They kind of pay this guy some deference with the camera, so much so that my betrothed looked at me and said, should we know who he is?
I thought at the end, near the end, when he is punching all the Riddler alikes, and he takes off the mask of the guy that he just pounded his face in,
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be that guy.
That'd be kind of fun.
To the point where, I mean, they're all just kind of, mushed up white guys.
Yeah.
Where I was like, is that him? Because
It could have been.
They look at him and then he fades into the shadow.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, he's going to come back later.
That
He
could be.
doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
Maybe in a deleted scene that hopefully they'll put out someday
Well, I
soon.
thought potentially they were going to be like, that was the guy that shot his parents or something. I'm like, don't you look familiar to me? And he's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Why are you asking me if I look familiar to you?
No, it's just because he saw the news that Bruce Wayne is a guy.
Yeah, it's Bruce.
And then the car comes in, this act of terrorism that almost takes out the little boy that Bruce has taken unto his own, to the fact that, and I said, is that going to be Robin?
That's also what my betrothed said, and I said, no, he just sees himself in the boy.
He sees himself in the boy, but we also see the boy love, playing a little venge man.
It very much could be.
And I said that to my betrothed, and she said, that tiny child?
Well.
And I was like, well, maybe in a couple years.
Yeah, give him 5 more movies.
When the boy is in the circus. When the boy is in the circus.
Yes.
He is but a boy.
Yes.
And he takes him in and he raises him as his own.
He's no more than, what,
I think
10,
it's
11?
later when he walks in on Batman, like, using a punching bag in one of these stories.
Right.
Probably Grant Morrison. And he's like, Father, what you doing punching a bag? And he's like, nothing, my boy. And he's like, I found a cowl. And he's like, it's time I tell you the truth. I'm the Batman you've seen on the TV, and I want you to be my little helper. And he's like, hamburger helper. And he dresses him up like a glove. The thing with that's my point. Batman is all stupid.
Yeah, it is.
But this is the best Batman story we've gotten in 2 decades.
Were we about to say something? Here's one.
The car comes in.
Oh, okay. I need to write some stuff down so I remember to get back to it.
Landon patted his he patted his jeans. He's like, I forgot my wallet in the car for my calzone.
Go ahead. The car comes through.
Yeah, the car comes through. This is great because it completely changes what I thought the scene was going to be. And then he saves this little boy, and I'm like, this Riddler's going out of his way. They think someone's in the car, and you're smiling because you're like, it's the DA.
It's the
The
DA.
DA's in there. Don't you idiots know that?
Don't you get
He
it
gets
yet?
out with his saw trap around his neck.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm like, Sarsgaard is
good.
So good. And that's when I was like, they're not going to kill him. They got Sarsgaard. You got Sarsgaard on the track.
Sarsgaard on the track. Well, that's what Sarsgaard does, though. He'll show up in just about anything and act his little Batuskin
And then he
off.
gets out of there.
And then he's out. He says,
I'm in
done.
and I'm out. You make my head balloon up to the size of a planet, I'm out. Okay? Yeah. So he's in there. He's got the phone taped to his hand that's ringing for a couple hours, 5,
at
6
least.
hours.
It's daytime, and then by the time they actually answer it, it's nighttime.
Because Bruce Wayne kind of has to get out of there slowly.
Yeah.
Get back to his house. Get into his little suit. And then get back. And then hide in the shadows.
But here's another comedy moment where everyone's cleared out, and then it cuts to the little robot coming up to Peter Sarsgaard, who is just bored at this point.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there. It's dark now, and the phone is still ringing. He's just kind of annoyed, and the little bomb squad robot zips right up to him and just kind of looks at him. That's funny.
I laughed.
Yeah, I was like...
I went, ah!
And then...
Batman comes out of the shadows.
Batman clumps
and then
into
there's a joke in the movie that Landon, I would like to... I don't even know if it's a joke, but it reminds me of a joke that we put into a movie we made when we were younger, because the phone is ringing, and then there's a note on his chest. He opens the note, and it says, answer the phone.
Yeah.
Who clearly who do you think, why do you think this phone is ringing?
I did laugh when he opens it and it says answer or whatever it says.
Answer the phone. Everything has been addressed to Batman.
Yeah.
He doesn't why do you think the phone's ringing?
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen? I love that.
Sarsgaard thinks the phone is going to explode. Mm-hmm. So he just has to hold it, and he goes, oh, beep. And he's like, it's really you. I think we get another video of him. Oh, with Pete, right? The guy, the police station guy.
The police station.
Because I want to backtrack to this.
Okay.
The guy that works for is it the commissioner? I don't know. Pete. Is that his name?
I don't remember.
The guy that has the rat trap around his neck.
Yeah.
This is terrifying.
Yeah, it's scary.
And usually with
It's
these
out of
movies,
Saw.
and I want to pay most reverence to Mr. Matthew Reeves,
Absolutely.
because usually when they do this stuff in a movie, they'll hold the phone up, and you've got fake static.
Yes.
It's like no one has ever used a phone.
Right.
Like he built it himself. So it's always like, this is
Right.
the Riddler.
Right.
It's like when you see the guy from Marcus Theaters before the movie, and he's like, but it.
We always bring that up.
I bet
Every movie review.
20% of the audience might know what we're talking
Yeah.
about. Everyone else has an AMC.
Yeah. And they had to pay more for their tickets.
We actually do this in Europe a lot.
So I think
We do.
I honestly think they just let Mr. Dano film it himself.
Yeah, with a phone, and
With
it's
a
just
phone.
with a flash.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
Yeah.
This is like, I love the Riddler, this take on the Riddler. I love Mr. Dano, and much reverence to Mr. Dano, of course.
Yes. Well,
Really giving it his all, and maybe even giving it too much of his all.
Yes.
And isn't that so dark? When actors go to the darkest, deepest place of their imagination that they aren't even sure if they can come out again.
but you know what's funny? If you read the article and not the headline, he's like, I just had a lot of like energy, so I couldn't get to sleep.
That's so funny. When you do read it, when people are like, he felt that he would never be disturbed again, and
Yeah.
then you read the comments, people are like, he literally did not say that.
Yeah.
And it's just, he was just like, they have to tell him something.
Yeah.
And yes, if you're playing someone who, like, your job is to really feel like what I'm doing is justified,
Sure.
and I like killing these people. Sure, you go on set and you have to act that way.
Sure.
And you got that adrenaline. Mm-hmm. But they're looking for their Heath Ledger.
Yes. Who also, that wasn't the case
He
for.
took cough medicine and another cough medicine.
And accidentally never woke up again.
Yeah, it was not because he became the Joker.
Well, anyway.
Stop saying that. I just want to put this out there,
Yeah.
Landon. Stop saying that.
Okay.
Landon.
I won't say it ever again. I'm going to say it again.
Yeah. So this is great. So he's got that. He's got the rat trap, and it's just a dark. It's very scary. What's going on?
Yeah,
so
it
when he
is.
shows up again on the phone, and then he says his viewers are watching.
Yes.
And then we cut to they're picking up his signal, and he's on TikTok.
He's live streaming.
He's on Tinder. He's on Grindr. He's on Bumble.
And
He's on Donut Meets Penis.
And it's at this point you kind of think, yep, they're taking all the ideas I've had.
At this moment, I realized something that we're working on can no longer happen.
Should have just made that 4 years ago when we came up with. Anyway,
We still will.
Yep.
It's different enough.
it's fine.
If you're watching this right now, you don't care.
Yeah.
So anyway,
What's he do?
he is talking to them, and he says, "You've got riddles, and you must answer them."
Yes, Riddles 3.
Because he loves riddles. He grew up with riddles.
Yes. It was the only way I could be happy. Blah, 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 blah.
I like this. I know that there's kind of the idea that, do they have to make everything so gritty and real? Guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this guy is out of his mind. It's not the Jim Carrey Riddler.
Right. Well, and what ends up happening, the final kind of twist of the Riddler, is honestly more terrifying than anything else. Because it's so real and apropos of our real life world, isn't it?
It's a little too, and we'll get into this later, it's a little too realistic.
Exactly what I just said.
I got a text about some cake.
Whoa!
So
Kim Kardashian? I'm just kidding. That's just like an old joke from the
you're about
from
to
the early aughts.
break
The
the
late aughts.
internet.
Yep. So he answers the riddle. Well, he asks the riddle, what's blind and frickin'...
What's everywhere and nowhere at once? And he's like, justice. Which I like riddles, and I love riddles in movies.
Sure.
Because it's always like, they make it so you can't figure it out until someone else says it.
Yeah.
Because why would you say the concept of justice is the answer to this riddle? He's saying them fast enough that I'm not catching everything.
Yeah.
But when he's like, it's justice, I'm pretty sure there could also be other things.
Well, no, because it was something about like blind. It's blind, but...
I'm sorry.
But everywhere and nowhere.
Well, then the second one is, you are me and I am a guy. What do you have in your blind eye?
Bribes. What?
Bribes. No, exact bribes. How much?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. 10,000 minutes. You gotta be having it. Fine. Very good. Yeah, but it's still one of the most tense scenes I've ever seen.
And then he's like, El Rato Minato. He's like, I can't do it. I got a family. I got friends. I got a house in the hills.
Head blows up, and Batman gets as close to him as he has been the whole scene.
He can't see the number.
When he knows his head is going to blow up in any second.
5, 4, 3.
Just tell him.
5
You're about to blow
seconds.
up. Anyway, it's still awesome. Do you guys hear that?
Oh my God.
That's a rainstorm coming down.
Wow.
We're basically in Gotham now.
We're in Gotham. The seawalls are going to explode. And not to spoil anything. So this happens.
He explodes, then he wakes up in the police precinct. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
Yep.
Okay.
So we
but
got
yeah,
there.
I love that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes in the whole film. Followed by one of my other favorite scenes, this scene in the police precinct, which I just described.
It's so tense.
Followed by one of the worst scenes in the movie.
What's this?
Gordon says, punch me, take the, go up to the roof, and you can get out there. Batman does it. He
gets chased through the halls like Michael Myers in Halloween Kills.
He gets chased through the halls of the police precinct, which there are always, I think this movie more than any other Batman movie succeeds in not making whoever's playing Batman look like a doofus. Because like you've been saying, it's just such a stupid concept that every movie there will be at least a few shots where Batman looks so awkward because he can't move his head or whatever. And this was one of them for me where he is just like, it's just so funny to see a guy in a suit being chased and people are just like looking at him like, what? He's just like running, knocking people over and stuff.
Before and like you can't go that fast. Before I forget, my favorite example of this that made me laugh out loud in the theater to the point where people were probably like, it's supposed to be a nice moment.
Yeah.
It's when the garden, as they call it, has flooded.
Right.
And he has to move the stuff out of the way for the people, and he lights the flare.
Yeah.
And you just see this little guy with these big, bulky suit on, just like wading slowly through the water, and all these people are following this guy in a bat mask, like with his big, puffy coat thing on.
Yeah. And, okay, so...
Speaking of big, puffy coat thing...
that's what I'm getting to, the worst scene in the movie. So then he uses his little bat claw... Goes up through the police precinct. Great. Gets to the roof. Is scared of heights.
He doesn't realize how high up he is,
which is fine. I'm actually fine with that.
I like that he's afraid of heights.
He's not used. He hasn't done this yet.
No, he's 2 years in. Give him some slack.
He pulls.
But he's prepared.
He pulls a lever on his suit. He becomes. It's that scene from The World Is Not Enough where a big blow up pillow surrounds him. And then he has love. He has a love with Denise Richards in the suit. No,
he does have love with her.
Only Bond fans will get that.
Smash the comments if you did get that.
He becomes Big Puff Man, and he has the bat wings, and he jumps off the building, and then there's two insane shots that they show once, and you're kind of like, that kind of looked bad. And then they go back to it again, which is he's at the very top of the frame, and it's almost like a stationary shot of him, or like it's locked off on him. And he's like whoosh, flying through the city, and it just looks so weird.
Because it's like they put a GoPro on his head to face him like when you're watching The Amazing Race.
Yes.
And they're like on a tightrope.
But it's like, I know that it's not real. He's not actually doing that. Yeah, so it just looks stupid. Anyway. And then that was really the only scene where I was like, oh, that's CGI. When
he falls and like falls onto the ground and rolls, it's not like it's like he's not interacting with anything in the environment.
It's really bad for some reason.
They just like have the shot of the street and they have him rolling on a green screen and they put it on.
Yes. It was very weird that it looked that bad because the rest of the movie is almost, I couldn't tell where the effects began and the real shots.
Right, because the whole city is fake. There are shots that they filmed in cities, but then when you've got larger like stuff going on, that's why I was like, fake, but I don't know. A lot of what happens with him is mostly practical effects, maybe like with the fighting and stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
So
and
having a person be in CGI was
it was. It just took me out of it completely. And it also just didn't need to happen.
He could have just got away.
It's just a weird scene to leave in. Like, I get that they wanted to show us that he's not fully formed yet.
Thank you.
But we get that throughout the movie. We don't need that scene. It looks bad. Just take it out. I would have been fine if they left. He zip lines up, cut away. Mm-hmm. We don't need to see that.
Because how does he get out of everywhere else?
Exactly. And I'm fairly certain then they just cut to him in the Batmobile or on his motorcycle or something. Like, it's not even like he has to go back to Alfred and be like, my suit didn't work. I didn't know how to fly. Like, there's no... He doesn't address the fact that he messed up. He's just back on the case.
Speaking of this, and viewers, smash those comments. Most people probably aren't listening to this on YouTube, so I don't know why I keep saying that. But go to our YouTube.
Yeah, you might want to watch it.
Because I have a question. They go to...
We're about to... In a couple of hours, we're going to finally crack into the Calzony pizza, and you're really going to want to see that.
They go to what I was confused by for half the movie. They go to the drop for the drops, which I thought they were just talking about drops. Mm-hmm. Like, you do a drop of, like, drugs. I didn't know they literally were called drops for a minute.
Oh, right. No.
They were like, they did drops. These are the drops. The drops. They dropped the drops. I mean, come on.
They're drop heads.
But I eventually figured it out, and I'm all the smarter for it. But They go to the drop where the Penguin is. They show up together.
Who?
Gordon and Batman.
Oh, sure.
They come together.
Yes.
Like any good couple.
Yes.
And they open the door.
Is that what that Beatles song is about?
Yeah.
Over
me.
Oh, those sickos.
Well, that's all the drops they were doing.
Whoa. So, yes.
So they come together. And then he goes, this just got a lot more complicated, Gordon. Because she comes and she goes,
Selena
she
Kyle,
being Catwoman. And then Batman's car is there.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
But I don't even care because how freaking cool is that car?
It was cool, and then it moves forward a little bit because it's like stick shift and he doesn't know how to drive it. But I know, and we've seen in other movies where he presses a button and his car comes to him.
Yeah.
But you don't hear it. But it was I was just like, oh, that's interesting. But I also, I don't care.
Well,
but then it's like, why did they need to show us him getting out of the police station, but they know that we can make the logical leap to his car
is there,
knowing where he is or
right.
whatever.
Well, I
needed
think
to make the movie a little longer. God, I had to go to the bathroom.
Did you have to get up and go?
At one point, I knew that it was a good time to go.
What scene?
It's the scene where they're on the roof meeting with Selena because she captured the cop.
Right. That
he
killed
wants to know.
Annika.
Yes, that killed Annika and then plays them the audio. She kicks him off and then he's like, she's going to go after Falcone. And in my head I said, okay, I got a minute here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little chase.
Sure.
So then I come back in and she's got new hair and I'm like,
yeah. I made it through the whole thing.
Couldn't do it.
I'm a good boy. So let's see. Well, let's get to the car chase then, because this is also one of the best car chases I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
First of all, the rain, give me a break. That just adds this layer of tension that is unbearable.
How do they... I don't even know how they filmed this scene.
And it felt all practical, didn't it?
That's what I mean. I'm like, they got 200 semi-trucks. It's like they're in traffic. This must have taken 3
hours at least.
A week of this movie was probably shooting this scene.
Yeah. Oh, at least.
They've got so much going on.
But this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Uncharted, where all of that movie felt fake. There were no stakes.
Right.
But then you get a movie like this where it's way more unrealistic in a way, because it's Batman chasing the Penguin. And you're like, this is stupid what I'm watching. When you zoom out and think about it, you're an idiot for sitting here and watching this and taking it seriously. Meanwhile, Uncharted, it's also stupid, but it's a real guy. He's not dressing up like someone and doing, I don't know. Anyway, you see something like this.
The Batman thinks the Penguin is El Rata Batata.
You are El Rata. It's a website. Pretty good movie. So
yeah, chases him.
but the chase is so good because it feels real, and there's a vision behind it. Matt Reeves directs the hell out of it. You know every step that's going. You know each cause and effect during the chase. The sound design is literally rocking the whole theater. As the Batmobile revs its engine, you're just like, at least in my theater.
I almost went to see this at the IMAX, don't you know?
I would have loved to have seen it at the IMAX.
I would have told you if I pulled that trigger.
Yeah.
But I saw it at that theater as well. They have the I guess the rumble seat edition too. Okay. That's not a seat you want to be eating your popcorn in, especially during this scene.
God. But this is great because it has a style to it. It's not just a camera being set up. That's the other thing with Uncharted. It was like, just, put the camera here, they'll fight here. Then we'll have a camera over here, they'll fight there. The cameras has a point of view.
Wow. Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you have a good Thursday.
and it's just nice to see.
And then he hits that truck and he knows, he's like, because he knows he's about to ram. He's not acting just like some of these chase scenes you get in movies. It's like the Fast and they just act like they're immortal.
Right.
The Penguin's scared to do this.
Yeah.
He doesn't know if it's going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
He just hits it.
And then, I got him. Great.
Got him.
The only thing I wish is that the trailer didn't ruin this moment because it's so cool.
Where it
Crashes down. Well, it goes off the ramp, and then about 5 minutes later it comes down because we spend 5 minutes watching the Penguin say, I got him! I did it! I got him!
If I may, a little edit here, Matt Reeves. Don't let him say that so much because we know he didn't.
Right.
I would just like to see him.
Well, that's what I mean, Let that moment play out in the movie. Don't put it in the trailer then.
Well, that's got to be the producer. They watched that, and Matt Reeves is like, check this out.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's going in the trailer.
That's going in
He's
the
like,
trailer.
I should have just shown him.
Here's another moment where it was supposed to be cool, but I thought it was cool, but I also thought it was goofy. Because
Actually,
not you.
I'm going
Not
here.
you.
Oh,
sorry.
you don't want me around no more.
No. The car flips.
Okay.
The car flips. Penguin's going rolling. You get to see all of it. That's cool. And then he's upside down. He's looking out his window. Gong, 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 gong. And you see Batman exit the Batmobile, walk slowly over to his car, and you're waiting for it to cut away because it's so cool that he's walking, and the flames are behind him. It's so cool. And then, for some reason, they just let the camera keep rolling as he bends over, sticks his head in.
Sticks his tiny little head in there. So funny.
You're like, you probably could have cut that because that doesn't look as cool as him just walking towards it in the flames. But anyway, I love that car chase, and that is awesome, and that's how you do a car chase, and that's how you make an action scene in a big budget action movie. I love this movie.
I love the let's see, what other big freaking action scenes are there? I mean, because you don't get a lot of them. When you get them, they're important. But a lot of the movie is a detective story.
It's mystery.
It's a mystery.
Okay, so let's get into something else that I was kind of talking about earlier, we eventually get that the Riddler is going after Bruce Wayne next. And he wants to bring up the renewal project. There's this whole backstory of Thomas Wayne was going to be the mayor, and he was going to have the renewal project. He was going to give a bunch of money to people that need it in the city, build infrastructure, all this stuff. All the stuff that you want in a city. Is a good man, Thomas Wayne, a good man. But the Riddler says, actually, he was not a good man. And his wife went to I don't know, there's a lot of exposition about a backstory that I didn't fully get all of it. I remembered back to whatever source material it's from, and because I think that does come up in some book, some comic.
Is it Long Halloween? There's a lot of the Falcone, Maroni.
Right. That's all long.
A lot of that's in there.
It's one of these Bat books. Or I think some of it comes up in Hush, which I thought they were kind of alluding to, because during that little clip there was he paid him hush money, and it just said hush on the screen. And I was like, is that for us? Is that for us comic book fans,
It's gotta
Mr.
be.
Sir? Is that for us, Mr. Comic Fan, sir?
Is that comic fan, sir? Did you do that to tip your hat to me reading a book once, sir?
I can't remember any of it anyway. It's sucked out of my head as soon as
Me neither. It's a great one of my favorites, but
Of course.
God,
It's
if I
one of
could
the
remember
classics.
it, I would.
I would too.
Simple as that.
So let's see. Basically, my point is, I know that it's important to Bruce. I don't feel it's important as an audience member, per se.
Sure.
I don't know. That's all.
Wait, what specifically?
That potentially Thomas, and we kind of already talked about
Yes,
this, but
okay.
that the Waynes maybe weren't as good of people as
I think that the problem is they don't. From the beginning, there are people that are against the Waynes because they are rich and
Right.
their foundation wasn't working and had money. If we get more of like why he had a good childhood,
Yeah.
or like what good his family was doing, because all we see is Gotham and ruin.
Yeah.
But we don't. So when all of a sudden it's like, and also they also had some hush money. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But then he's just like, Mommy and Daddy were adults. Like,
Right.
He thinks they are. But he didn't know any of this. He just thinks they're God's gift to Earth.
You think your dad was such a good boy, but he actually wasn't.
And this Arkham thing with his mom, has this come up before? I do not recall
I
her
don't know.
being.
That's what I'm trying to think about, because I know that the whole Thomas Wayne saving Falcone with the gunshot, that was all in, I think, Long Halloween.
Whatever.
But I think there was something with there's something with his mom that, and I think in the comics maybe it was more of like a connection to another villain or something, like less so that she just had to go to the mental hospital for a week or something. I don't know. That's what I mean. It's like, just, that's not really a scandal, I wouldn't think.
That's what I'm.
He did it to protect your mother. That's what Alfred says
So her parents,
in his British accent that I just did.
her parents died in a murder-suicide. Very dark.
Yeah.
Very surprising.
Sure.
He doesn't know that about his grandparents.
Right.
He doesn't know that his grandparents died in a murder-sue.
Murder.
And she lost her mind when that happened.
Right.
Yes, went to the mental hospital for emotional distress. She's
Yeah,
not.
sure.
She's not like mentally ill.
Right. She didn't start like chewing people's hands off or something.
It was just, and then that might come out, so they paid someone off because that would hurt their family or whatever.
Yeah, it would. But that's the thing. Like, again, maybe 30 years ago, that's more of an issue.
Right.
Nowadays, people are like, I'm mentally handicapped or whatever. Like, people on the internet are always like, oh, isn't it so ooey gooey to be depressed? I'm so depressed right now until I have my coffee.
I've got OCD. If I see one pair of socks at Target, that I like, I have to buy all of them. And you're like, that's not what that
That's
means.
not what that means.
It actually is. Because one says, like, I'm an elf. I'm like a naughty elf on the shelf. I get what I want, and I see all. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And like, so one pair says that, and I bought all the pairs of socks they had.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what that is.
So, point being, and of course, we stand with all of you who
Smash in those
from-
comments.
I just, like, again, Bruce and Gotham are not from this world.
Yes.
Like, they're all alien. Because I think in the modern world, we've normalized mental health issues to the point that now it's almost wrong. People treat it with such like it's no big deal the opposite way, where people who are actually suffering don't get paid the difference that they need, I would think. But anyway, that's a whole other smash the like button. So I don't know. That didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah, I'm not. I guess I was unsure about that, why that was such a big deal, to the fact that they needed to pay this guy off, and then Bruce thinks they're paying him off to protect his political career. And
yeah, he just believes whoever tells him something, doesn't he? He's kind of stupid.
You believe the guy that owns that runs the mob, that he's gonna tell you the truth about your family, when he's like, "Oh, pipsqueak, tisk tisk. This was not the story you wanted to be told this night."
First, he believes the Riddler. Mm-hmm. Then he goes to Falcone, who tells him his version, and he believes that. Then he goes to Alfred and believes him. But it's like, why are you believing any of the villains in the first place? They're trying to be villains to you.
And also, if his dad is trying to protect his political career to help the city, like, if this gets out, he knows that people are going to see it as a weakness, that his wife was sad that her dad killed her mom and then killed himself.
Right, which is a completely normal thing to be screwed up about.
So if that gets out, it's going to ruin their chances to become mayor. And he wanted to shut some journalist up.
Right.
And said, just pay him off.
Right.
But then he believes his dad was like, then pay him off.
Yeah.
Then pay him off.
Right. Which, of course not. But
no, Thomas.
I do think because they show Bruce Wayne and Batman so often being an other.
And at one time they showed them at the same time on screen.
Yeah, that was weird.
I was really confused.
I was like, so they can be in the same room? So
that's what we all said in the theater at the same time, out loud.
So they can be in the same room?
And that's when I ran to the bathroom. So they go to the, is it the mental, what is it? Is it
who?
Is Arkham, no, Arkham's the state hospital.
Arkham
They go to the orphanage, right?
Yes.
And then that's where they see the drop heads.
They see the stupid drop heads.
Then they see the footage of Thomas talking about his plan to help the city.
Right.
This is the thing that ruined young Edward Nashville's life.
Yes.
Okay?
It did. He was there in the crowd. We'll find out later. Staring directly into the camera.
Basically, I like this movie.
Yeah. It's just that it sucks a little bit. No, it's very good.
They bring him out into the light. Just jumping ahead.
Skipping all of them. The whole middle act, I think. No, we can skip ahead. What else? We don't have to go through all this. So, yeah, basically, I guess my main complaint there is just that, I don't know, and it kind of comes with the Alfred stuff, too, where that moment, and it might be because I was laughing through it, but that moment didn't necessarily feel quite so earned to me, because we basically only have like 2 other scenes with Bruce and Alfred.
Yeah.
And he's not really helping him be Batman the way that we're used to it, where he's like talking in his ear and stuff like that. And he's not, which is fine because this is before that. So I guess I just have to get over that myself because they're showing Bruce is not connected to anyone. That's his whole problem. Every single person that he comes, except for Gordon, he's at least trustworthy of him, but he's not even trustworthy of Alfred until the hospital scene. And Selena Kyle, I guess he likes her, which I also felt like, do I really believe that they were in love with each other?
They're not in love. They're getting their rocks off like a couple teens on the south side, you know?
Yeah.
Hanging out by the local dairy mart and just two straws, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think she's like, look at this chin.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I get it honestly, I understand from both sides.
From both sides, they are both, how do you say, they're both tasty treats because they want to taste each other's treats. Therefore, they are that. You are what you eat. He's a sexy kitten, meow. She is a naughty bat.
Yes!
So, yes, they're both like, I want to kiss this person.
Yeah.
I don't think she's like, run away with me. I don't think they're going to get married.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that's the thing with, even in the comics, when they finally do smash, I think after a while they're just like, we really don't have anything in common.
It's just this
thing we do at night with masks on.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, exactly. Oh, speaking of a young Alfred, that another just scene of pure intensity and holding your feet on your little seat is when he's opening the mail.
Oh, God.
He is speeding back to help the only man that cares about him, calling Alfred, and then Alfred picks up the phone. Hello! Christina! Put Alfred on the phone! She's like, who is this? And he's like, it's Bruce!
Yeah.
And she's like, you didn't hear?
Yeah.
The whole place exploded.
I've been trying to get a hold of you.
Not true.
Not
because
true.
the phone is what you're answering.
And it's been ringing for 5 minutes. That whole scene, I'm like, Alfred, you got one job, my friend. Pick up the phone.
I'm so scared. I was just like, they can't kill him. It's Andy frickin' Serkis.
No, well, it's Alfred.
It's Alfred. But I was like, they might do it. Maybe that's,
Hey, yeah.
you know, like in other movies where someone you care about dies.
Right.
So I was like, they're going to do it. But then he throws it enough where I'm like, no.
Him alive.
So that's very, very scary. But also, Alfred, come on. Wait, did he say he used to be in the circus?
I think he did.
He's like,
But I thought he said service, but I thought he was going to say I used to be in the service because
Yeah.
that is a common Alfred thing.
that's what I
for a lot of these Batman retellings.
Right.
Like, yeah, Alfred's actually a badass.
He's actually badass, and if you watch Pennyworth, you can see that he kicks major ass. But he said circus.
He said circus.
And he's using his old circus training to decipher.
He did, didn't he? Yeah, I just thought like maybe he in the script anytime that's SER.
He just says his
He
last
says
name.
his last name.
I think that because I was like, well, why is he not smart? Because he's supposed to be smart, and he
Yeah.
helps him.
Right.
But he gets a package.
Yeah.
With this very specific handwriting that you could say was almost made for a movie.
Yeah.
Because no one writes that way. For the Batman.
Yeah. Very creepy.
Very creepy. Looks very cool. I'm sure there's going to be numerous shirts at Hot Topic that have a question mark on it. Landon's going to go buy all of them.
I'm gonna go buy them all.
So he goes, for the Batman. Opens it. Clearly, it's going to be a bomb. Do you
Of
hear
course.
that out there?
Do you guys hear that?
We're going to blow away.
Okay. There's a bomb, obviously. So he throws the bomb. Oh my god.
Oh, man.
Sorry, tornado blew us away.
All right, we're back. The tornado is no more.
Yeah, you definitely can't hear that in the background.
Okay, I think it's done now, unless this is when you're in the part where the tornado comes next.
Yeah. The eye of the storm, I think.
So what else happens here? We Viewers, help us out with this. Remind us to make a list next time. I just need bullet points of what happened. Because now I'm going here, I'm going there, but I want to talk about good stuff
and bad stuff.
Let's get to should we get to the end, because by the end I think there's like a solid hour left when they find where the Riddler has been hiding.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so let's first say this. So Selena goes to kill Falcone. Batman goes to stop her from killing Falcone. He does. And he brings him out into the light, which is what Riddler wanted all along, which was just to put him under a streetlight, I guess.
Yeah.
He knew that they were going to come out that exact door. I don't know. It's one of those comic book things where you're like, if you think about it too much, you're like, so much had to happen just right for him to do this.
And he was always there.
And yeah, so we find out that Riddler was living in an apartment right next to the Ice Boy Lounge.
And you know what? Cool.
That's fine with me.
I like that.
I believe that
he's been there the whole time.
I believe that.
Brings him out, shoots him.
And then someone... Here's where things honestly kind of start to go a little sideways for me. Riddler escapes his apartment.
Riddler.
out the fire escape. And they're like, God, we missed him again. And some no-name cop comes up to Gordon and is like, hey, Gordon, we got an eyewitness. Says they saw someone exiting the fire escape. Says they're down at the diner eating coffee.
Yeah.
He's like, eating coffee? You mean drinking coffee?
We cut to him and he goes, no water. No water. And then she's just like, okay, hon, and hands him a scoop of Folgers.
Yeah. And he's... And then he puts it on the table and he makes a question mark out of it.
It says the Batman in theaters now.
So that just seems kind of like... he was so invisible this whole time, but someone saw him exiting the fire escape. I don't know.
But here's the thing with that, if I may,
Please
say that you're wrong. He goes to the... I think it may
He
be
wanted to be
part of
caught.
his plan to get caught.
Oh, it is. It is. Because then when he's talking to the B-Man in the interrogation room, he's like, I wanted you to be in here with me so we could watch it all unfold together. Because he thinks they're both on the same team, basically.
And when he finds
You're
out
right.
that they're not. But I also get what you're saying by it's like, I think maybe he could have gone, I don't know, maybe there's a cooler way to do it in my head. I like the shot.
The shot's
of the
great.
diner with the light, and you're just seeing in there like it's the aardvark sitting at the table or
Right,
whatever.
yeah. But this is the first of a few times here at the end where Batman is not doing anything. Like, Batman doesn't solve where Riddler's at.
Right.
He looks up and sees that, he was probably in that there window. Because the Riddler kind of wanted him to see that that's where he was.
And then someone tells them where he went. He shows up last and
he shows up last and
ducks
just
his head in a little bit.
Yeah. And you're kind of like, man, I kind of wish Batman would have caught him.
Yeah.
I don't know, just something I would have wished to have seen. But he's not the Batman. He's not Mr. Experienced Batman yet. That's what we have to keep remembering. We're seeing a year 2. Mm-hmm. He's not at the top of his game just yet.
No.
But then when they introduce something that should have been the post-credit scene.
Just yet, League.
There's a scene in the movie that should have been after the credits because it does nothing for the movie that it's in, but only sets up the future. That kind of suggests to me that he caught the unnamed guy in Arkham. Don't you think?
I looked into this scene. I read an article with an interview with the director. I don't know if you did this.
No.
I read it just because, I wanted to know who it was, like what actor.
Oh, I was going to say.
What bad guy is that? My biggest problem with the movie was this scene.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to keep seeing the Joker.
Yeah.
We've gotten so much, not even from Batman movies, but then you've got like Suicide Squad and
the
Harvey.
movie Joker.
Yeah. There's just that's the go-to because he's the guy, but it's like stop throwing him in there. He has a rogues gallery.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's hard because that's always the most interesting. So
it is, but if it's just like I want the Riddler. Then everyone's like, oh, but the real guy. It's almost like then he becomes like his story's over now.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about the future. Now, Matt Reeves,
Yes.
our director,
Yes.
in Blue, has said there was another scene with him earlier,
Right.
that actually made this one make more sense. Because you see, yeah, I know,
It's 3 hours long. Just put it in the movie.
and then take this one out.
Or take them both out.
He said they tried it with this scene taken out too. They almost had neither of them. And he said this adds a little something, whatever.
Yeah.
But he said the first scene you get with him is Batman, I believe, interacting with or catching this guy.
Aha.
And he is a younger. So basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
He has not become the Joker yet. But he has and we'll see this when they release this footage, but he has some sort of medical condition where he can't stop smiling.
Right.
Which has made him kind of turn against society because, how people treat him.
Sure.
Which is also kind of what the Joker is, the movie Joker.
Yeah.
Because his thing is that he laughs. He can't not laugh.
Right. I mean, there's only so many ways. That's the problem.
That's my problem.
There's
it's
only
like you've got. Everyone's always going to bring up the Heath Ledger thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to bring up. You've got Mr. DeSantis. What's the guy's name?
Yeah. The guy
Tommy
from
Lee
Florida.
Jones has big fake face.
Jack Nicholson.
Not
Tommy Lee Jones. He was Two-Face.
You had the Joker where half of his face is mad and half.
He was kind of doing a Joker.
Yeah.
And so was Jim Carrey.
But so you've got. I don't know. It's just like it just seemed like they kept it in to be an Easter egg.
It's a tease.
Yeah.
At least do me the favor of putting it at the end of the credits.
But he said that I think it's why. And look, if you have to go to interviews to understand a movie, you have failed as a director and as a friend.
That is why this movie gets 0 out of 10.
But he said that he wasn't trying to set up. He's like the idea isn't that okay, the Joker's coming
he's the next one, yeah.
The idea is that he's out there.
Which
he's caught him before and they've already started their sort of
which I got actually.
Yeah.
Like when it was happening I was kind of like but in the back of my head I was thinking trust Matt.
I trust Matt. I mean, when the guy says you've got to be a clown. I'm like, did you want me to stand up and show you my butt? Like, you want me to be so happy?
Yes. Well, and do you know they're doing an Arkham Asylum show for HBO Max?
Just give me a second to just breathe without this stuff.
I know it does
because I want this movie. I want it to be special. That when you do a Batman movie, give it the reverence it deserves.
Which I think they did. I mean, it's a 3-hour epic.
For this one, they did.
I don't, we don't necessarily, like for your Suicide Squad and then you do the Peacemaker show, I don't care. This is all stuff that I can take or leave.
Yep.
Batman is different. Now, I think this Arkham show I hope it doesn't delve into the Batman, but you have to. It's like when they do that great series Gotham Central or whatever that just follows the police.
Right.
And it's little moments where Batman kind of comes in and you're kind of like, oh, that was cool. But it's mostly just about the cops. That's fine. I'll watch it. Anyway.
But then you've got Gotham, which was supposed to be about kid villains or whatever.
Well, it was young Jim Gordon.
Little
before Batman.
Oh, that's right. Young Jim. But then they, 2 episodes in, they're like, well, we got to bring the Penguin in. We got to bring... Yeah. Harvey Dent. And then they keep going to Batman. They keep showing Bruce doing stuff. It's like, I don't care.
And I think even at the end, I watched the first season and gave up. But I think at the end, he even just becomes Batman.
Yeah.
As
he
a
starts
12-year-old.
training or something.
Okay. Anyway, I think this show will probably have, I think Matt Reeves is somehow involved. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe there will be a little bit.
I don't know. Save some of it for the screen.
Yeah, not the little screen.
But I want to see
The big one.
But I mean, and to be honest, with the size people's TVs are these days,
We've got the big screen at home. Okay, so they pick up the Riddler. They throw they throw his arse into Arkham.
Whee! Flash. Arkham State Hospital, not
Yes.
asylum.
Not asylum. So
Not asylum.
let's see. Something's not sitting right for the old B-man though.
No, it's not hemorrhoids either.
No. Wait, how does? Oh, he gets a call that Riddler wants to see you.
Yeah.
So he goes and he has an interrogation room scene with Riddler, which is, again, one of my favorite scenes. And the sound design in this was rumbling me in my chair. And this is just a scene, two guys talking, but every time he pounds on the glass, my chair goes. And then the score coming up is like so much bass, and I was like, God, remember when they used to turn the bass drum up at a concert and you could feel your heart beating out of your chest? They don't do that anymore. Is that just me and the shows that I go to that they stopped turning the kick drum up? What is that?
It could just maybe you're just going to bands that they're like, I can't do it anymore.
God, I miss that. Every show I've been to the last 3 years is like, yeah, we don't actually have a kick drum mic'd anymore.
I'll take you to a show.
All right.
We'll just pick one and go. See?
All right.
And you're like, they're not doing it.
Maybe it's just the low end of my body is off. Anyway.
Yes, you get to see them.
You get that rumble.
Paul Dano's great.
Here's a great moment.
If you weren't watching the video, Landon just grabbed me.
I throttled you around like you were the Riddler to my B-man.
Nothing was behind his eyes, so I couldn't tell if he agreed or disagreed. Just shook me around.
They do talk. I agree, they talk. Paul Dano, great. Goes on this little monologue.
And Batman's kind of still standing in the shadows.
Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne. And they show Batman, and just the slightest acknowledgement with his eyes that I've been found out. He goes on this whole monologue of how Bruce Wayne this, Bruce Wayne that. I know the real secret. And that's why Bruce Wayne sucks. And it's a little sense of relief for the audience and the B-Man himself.
That's why he's our next target or something.
Right.
And you're just like...
He does it because you think he knows who he is. But here's my question.
Bruce Wayne. I want to be in a movie. It seems fun.
Yeah, it does. Here's my question. And I know the answer, but
This is great podcasting.
do you think he does know or think that it's Bruce Wayne and he was just kind of letting him off the hook in a way that like villains like to do sometimes, where they're like,
I thought about that because there have been those iterations where they're like, even ones where the Joker, not to bring up him again,
right,
but he doesn't want to know.
right, he will,
Because then if he knows, the game ends.
right.
And isn't that despicable?
But I think he just didn't actually know.
Yeah. I think that the way they do it is to make us think he does.
Right.
And then turns out, oh, no.
I mean, even up until the movie basically says, oh, no, he actually doesn't know.
Yeah.
I thought, your mind's going. You're like, God, how is Batman going to get out of this? How is he going to convince the whole town he's not? Blah, blah, blah. And I even thought, I think the Riddler is going to say, I know your secret, but because you and I have this connection and we're both helping put away the bad guys, basically, who he thinks are the bad guys, I'm keeping your secret. I know who you are. I thought that was going to be the turn.
So did I.
But the turn is that he didn't actually know at all. And it was great.
Yeah.
Yay!
And I think if he did, we would have to, I mean, yes, if he was Bruce Wayne, he'd have to be like, well, wait, what?
Yeah.
But also, it doesn't do him anything to tell anyone, oh, Batman's Bruce Wayne. Okay.
Yeah, who's
Why does the
believing
Riddler
you.
need to tell anyone that? What does it do for him?
Yeah.
Gets him a hot pocket, you know?
Yeah. Well,
And I like, there are so many, I like the just the dichotomy of, you've got Bruce Wayne and he has to balance this. This is the eternal question for the superhero and the vigilante. And then you've got shows like The Flash, where after like the second season, anyone he possibly talked to knows he's the Flash. There is
Yeah.
no more like villains know, his
Yeah.
entire family, his friends, because that's part of their story, is having to do this extraordinary thing
Right.
and having no one know it's them.
right. Or you have like the Iron Man, who is like, that's part of it.
That's part of it, but not for the Batman.
No.
So I was like, can't we have one movie where he doesn't like? I don't need Selena to take his helmet off, his
Right.
bat helmet.
Right.
She doesn't.
She doesn't.
She doesn't kind of want to either, I think.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think she likes him being the mysterious masked man.
It's probably because it's like the opposite of now that we wear masks. You see someone in public and you're like, and then they pull their mask down and you go, woo! You got 3 lips. She knows if she takes that off, he's gonna just be like, yo 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 yo.
Daddling, daddling,
Looks
daddling,
stupid.
Ding, ding. Long hair.
But no one wants to see him. No one wants to think about him. Doesn't matter.
Right.
I like that Bruce Wayne is just himself and that he goes everywhere very unkempt.
Well, and I think this also kind of maybe makes him think a little more about maintaining the Bruce Wayne, because he's 90% of the movie he's Batman.
Maintain the Wayne.
Yes, that's the sequel. Mm-hmm. It's gonna have to be. Calling it now.
The Batman 2. Maintain the Wayne.
But I mean, that's the Alfred scene, and I think it's this scene too, kind of pointing to like, without the other half, people will know who Batman is.
Yeah, the Alfred to his Omegard.
So you gotta take that into account, Mr. Bruce. You have to first of all,
good.
you have to care for the ones you care about and show them that you do. And if no one sees Bruce Wayne, they're gonna eventually think that he's Batman.
He's learning.
He's learning. Anyway,
And also, hey, if you don't, you need to make money somehow. You want to keep up this charade. You want to make batarangs.
true.
Guess what? You got to go to a meeting with Miss Rial.
Exactly.
And then we come to Miss Rial.
Hold on.
Yep.
This is in this final stretch. This is one of the other moments where I am.
It's the final stretch.
And this is also the final stretch of the podcast where we stop caring about what we're talking about and just riff.
You made it. If you want to get to the pizza, you're going to have to a little bit more.
That's right. Pizza.
I know you're eating it at home too.
Oh!
This is another moment where Batman.
I don't know no Goyle. I don't know no Goyle.
That's Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Your Irish friend.
Your Irish guy. The only one in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And I was like, can you do the New Jersey accent? And he's like,
You mean this? Where I talk about the Goyle?
It's good.
and they're like, put him in a fat face and get him in the movie.
Put him in a fat face. Put him in the movie. He's looking really gross now, but he's also kind of groovy.
Riddler.
And your point was, Landon.
He's, what do you got planned?
Yep.
What's next? You're Batman. Figure it out.
He's not gonna tell you.
It's another moment where you're like, hey, buddy, I'm watching the Batman, not the Riddler. You got to do some of this work.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And he's just like back there going, ah,
Not how it's supposed to go. He wanted them to be in there with him.
this isn't how I planned it. Ah.
But also, what's interesting about this scene is he's like, you still don't know. Mm-hmm. You still don't know what the plan is. But in his next breath, he says, this isn't how I planned it. because Batman didn't go along with his plan.
Yeah.
So
he was supposed to figure it out.
he was supposed to figure it out.
He's not as smart as he thought.
But if he would have figured it out before the exact moment that he does later, which is another big issue that I have that I'll get to, he would have just stopped it. And then the Riddler really would have been, because the Riddler does kind of win.
Yeah, Batman loses.
But he learns a valuable lesson about hope. But the Riddler is like mad that he...
And it's beside himself.
The Riddler's mad. Oh, I'm just trying to place these pieces in my head. The Riddler's mad that he didn't get the plan, but if he would have gotten the plan earlier, he would have stopped it earlier, and the plan wouldn't have happened at all. So, or was he just mocking Batman? Like, you're really not as smart as I thought you were. You didn't figure it out yet. Is it more of a mocking thing?
But he also thinks Batman is on his side.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
true.
maybe he thought he was going to figure it out, but let it happen.
Yeah.
And he's mad, but like he's confused. He's like, "You're not on my side," which I don't get that either because clearly he's not.
Right. He's not ever been like,
Keep going.
yeah, yeah. Let's do it together. Yeah.
Like he's not on your side. So he's like, "You didn't figure it out." Like
But it's the delusions of this type of guy.
yes, the delusions and contusions of this
of this type of Q.
Yes. So
We'll get to it.
yeah, if he did figure it out, yes, you're right. It wouldn't happen then because he would have stopped it.
Right. So anyway, here
it comes.
Here it comes. Here's my biggest qualm with the picture. And I love the movie otherwise. And I know I've spent 2 hours saying why I kind of don't. But this is the only actual issue I have with the movie. All the other stuff is surface level. Batman goes back to the Riddler's apartment. He's looking through all the evidence and stuff, trying to figure out this last piece that the Riddler just told him about. That he wouldn't have known if the Riddler hadn't told him. Which you can chalk up to, that's the hubris of a villain. They just can't help themselves. Whatever. Anyway, he doesn't do anything to figure out that there's more to it.
Right.
He goes back to the apartment. He's looking for clues. Can't figure it out. Some ding-dong who's... the police who's watching the place comes in. Hey, you can't be here. Oh, it's you, Mr. B-Man. Do I look like I need help? I don't know. Whatever. They do something. And Batman's just silently kind of looking through stuff. He holds up the first murder weapon that the Riddler used to kill the mayor. Well, looks like an Afro pick, but solid and metal and not like an Afro pick. And this cop goes, carpet tool. Yeah. Weird. And Batman's like, carpet tool? Sorry to interrupt. I'm just saying my dad and my grandpa and my whole family were carpet guys. So then Batman gets the bright idea, maybe I'll rip up this here carpet, and finds the whole plan with lights. Blinking lights underneath the carpet. Batman did nothing. If it weren't for this guy happening to be on duty this night, everyone in Gotham would have died, or whatever the plan was.
Yeah.
Because it still seemed like I said, Riddler basically won.
Right.
I guess they saved the mayor.
Yes, the guy saying whatever he said. Oh, Cruncher.
Yeah.
Because he calls it something.
Yeah, he calls it the name.
But it's like, all these police have seen this stuff too.
Right.
So
and
it's like he's acting like it's the first time he's...
Why is all of the evidence from all of the other cases in...
They just carry it around.
They just move it to each new crime. Shouldn't that be in an evidence locker back at the precinct or whatever? I don't know how this works, but I'm pretty sure it's not just carried to each new crime scene.
It's funny. Then he rips up a little bit of the wood.
Yeah, like one little splinter of wood.
And then he just lifts up the carpet.
There's lights underground. Anyway, I don't even care about that. But it's the fact that someone else solves it for
Yeah.
Batman. Like if all of that coincidental stuff didn't happen, everyone would have been flooded and died at the Madison Square Garden. Not only that, but
Mainly that.
I just think
That's the bare facts, folks.
you couldn't have had any other way for Batman to figure that out. It just seems so, after such a smart, intricate plot, the final piece is just happenstance. And maybe that's the point. Maybe how I just said that out loud made me think maybe that's the smartest move of all. Because Batman still needs Gotham to point him in the right direction.
Shut up. It could have been, that the Riddler could have said something about how, everything.
Sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, something about
like
that,
that.
and something having more purpose to, everything he did was deliberate, down
Right.
to whatever. There could have been something said that jogged his memory. It is weird that the cop's grandpa installed carpets so he knows what carpet tools are.
It's a folder. It folds.
But also, like, him saying that to Batman, then him being like, that's what it is. Like, they no one knew what it was. But then, like, him saying that makes him think maybe this means something.
Right.
More than anything else in that box.
Right.
And they're standing in the room with it.
Right.
Where it needs to, like, it should
also-
be him figuring something out somehow where he has to go get it,
Yeah.
brings it back there, rips it up,
Yes.
but he could still be too late.
Sure. Of course. He doesn't know when it's all going down. And then it's like, it's not just that he sees this map with blinking lights where bombs are going to go off. He doesn't get it at that point. No. He has to type a real change or whatever into the computer to see that one final encrypted video of Riddler explaining the plan to a T. Which, I don't know. And I know it's an early Batman. He doesn't have all the pieces there. But I kind of figured it out once I saw the map of Gotham and blinking lights around the border.
I think those are bombs.
I mean, you got to assume it's something. So then he just stands around and watches a 5-minute video explaining it when he could have flew around to each of the bombs.
Also, this is when the movie starts to get kind of scary.
Yeah.
To be sitting in a movie theater,
Yeah.
a Batman movie.
Yeah.
And we had someone behind us that as they are reading, like more ammunition, like detonators
Yeah.
and all this stuff, and they're the fringe of society.
Right.
Someone behind us starts going,
Oh, God.
and we're just like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell is going on? And we're like, okay, you can stop now. Completely silent except for this guy just like laughing to himself, and you're like, uh-oh.
He was probably just like had his phone on. He just saw like a Garfield.
Yeah, Garfield without Garfield. So it's just John talking to himself. And he looks up, and all the employees from the theater are standing around him. They've all got empty buckets of popcorn. He's like, no, it's not what you thought. They all put the popcorn buckets on his head and his arms and his hands,
Yeah.
so he can't do anything.
Yeah.
They take him out of there.
That's how a Batman movie should be.
But instead, we find out that Gotham is built below sea level.
Yeah, something.
The entire city is being protected by seawalls.
They didn't mention that before, did they?
By the way, the ocean is higher than the city.
Yeah.
Like, if you went to New York, if you went to Manhattan, and you blew up a side of
been there.
Manhattan, whoa!
Just saying.
If you blew up a side of it, the water's not going to pour into the city.
Right.
Gotham is below the sea line.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, it's cool.
I said this. I went, okay. I did not see the entire flooding of Gotham City coming up.
It was a weird.
It's just like out of nowhere.
It did feel like, oh my God, we're doing this?
Yeah, when it starts to happen and then the entire city is being flooded. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
This is a different movie.
You know what I was actually thinking?
Wow,
I was like,
what?
okay, this is a whole other hour.
Yeah.
I thought we were getting near the end. But nope, it was about 20 more minutes. It did feel a little, I don't know, the third act just kind of, and not even the third act, more like the last half of the third act.
Blah.
It felt a little tacked on in a way. To me. Now, that's just the first viewing. And I want to say this about the whole carpet tool thing, too. Maybe I watched this again, knowing what I know now, and there are those clues. And maybe Riddler did say something that made the B-Man want to go back and look at that murder weapon specifically. I don't think that was in there.
I think once you get to the end of the movie, too, you've spent so much time setting everything up that the pace picks up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, and by the way, the actual plan is that the entire island gets exploded.
Right.
Well, the water rushes in and forces everyone to the Madison Square Garden of Gotham.
Right.
Where
which is considered by everyone in charge to be the safest place in Gotham, even though the entire first floor is made of glass.
Yeah.
So all of the water will come through the glass.
Yes.
But that is where everyone should go.
Yes. And before you can go up, you go down.
Right.
It's recessed.
Yes.
And then it's the safest place, but then all these guys get in that are riddle heads.
Yes. It becomes the Riddler is not just doing this for himself. He's amassing an army.
What a dark
Very
movie.
scary.
It's scary.
And very, as we said before, apropos of our modern times.
Yes. They huddle everyone there together to massacre them.
Yeah. They want to kill the mayor because, let's just be honest. Mm-hmm. Her name is just a little forced.
Yeah.
They're like, is your name really Rial?
She's like, well, it's got the thing over there.
No.
The umlaut. Like it's not an umlaut.
Yeah, it's very scary, and
So she gets doinked.
she gets
doinked.
And it's scary when she first, she goes back out to address the crowd when all heck is breaking loose, and she looks up, and you do just see the one guy. And you're like, God, that's scary.
What a nightmare scenario. So then he doinks her.
Gordon pulls her off the stage with one arm. And you're like, good God, she just got shot, man. But you got to do that in times like those. You just got to grab her by the arm and yank.
And then when we see her later,
She's
neck
fine.
deep in city ocean water,
Sewage.
she's going to die.
Yeah.
Her bullet.
She's gotta be
wound is-
infected.
Yeah. But then Batman, of course, this is when nothing else, when we are on the precipice of disaster. Right. Even more explosions happen.
All the windows shatter from the skylight. Boom, 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 boom. He's beating these fools left and right. Shoots one of them. Didn't he?
He kills a few of them. Or I think how Batman gets away with shooting other people is it's someone else is holding the gun.
Right.
And he aims it towards someone else.
And he's like,
Was it my fingerprints?
and can we just stop with the whole Batman actually kills people? Shut up. I know we just did it, but shut up.
Stop doing that.
It's the same as Die Hard's a Christmas movie. You're a waste of breath.
Oh, wow. Yo.
I'm sorry, we're 2 hours in. I'm calling it like I see it. What's that?
Yeah, so yes, Batman, it's just a hazard of the job.
You're gonna get doinked a couple times when you're fighting the B-Man.
Yeah.
And he's gonna doink you.
Sorry.
It's just it happens.
But he doesn't want you to he doesn't want you to point blank doink someone.
No.
He doesn't want you to hold the doinkster up to their head.
Yeah, he's not gonna
You killed Ani
right and
doink them.
and doink you. I thought it was funny. Again, more comedy in this movie than you might think when they're going into the orphanage, but right
Very
before
funny.
they see the drop heads, and Batman's like, "No guns" to Gordon.
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah, that's kind of your thing, man." That's funny.
He keeps calling him man.
Yes. Hey, Chief.
Hey, Chief.
Calls him Chief. Calls him man. That's awesome.
What are you doing, man? He loves. Hey, I think he sees Batman as a son.
Oh, absolutely. They're definitely for the sun, like.
And then Alfred looks through the window and he's like, "That's my son."
You took my son. No, he's the city's son. He belongs to the city. You're right, he belongs to the city.
Well, as Selena will say, he in fact, the city more of is his lover, isn't it? Instead of his.
Well, he wants to doink the city.
He wants to stay with Selena and doink her, but she says, "You're actually already doinking someone else."
You have a mistress. And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "The city, stupid."
Yeah, and he's like, I just found out words exist.
They cut to him literally humping the tallest building in the city.
Can you imagine something so deranged?
So Gotham is destroyed.
Gotham's gone, baby.
There's no way to come back from this. Your city is underwater. Day 7, Gotham's underwater. I got a vacuum. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Here's another thing too, where so the final fight in the rafters of the Madison Square Garden, he's beating up fools. Something I don't like. He's on the scoreboard thing in the middle, and it kind of falls, and he's hanging.
Yeah.
And like 3 Riddler guys are shooting at him, and he's just slowly shimmying across. He's like, they couldn't get him. He's going so slow.
Well, it also doesn't matter because when he does get shot,
he's bulletproof.
he's bulletproof. He gets blasted.
But it's just weird. Like, why is he doing that?
Yeah.
Just pull yourself up. Because then eventually he does. And then he fights more of them. And it's fine. But it's just, it looked funny to me.
You know what was a weird, and now we're getting into it. There's a scene where I think he sees the like electricity that's going into the water.
Yeah.
And his like act of heroism, he jumps onto it and cuts it.
Yeah.
Because like that's the only way to get it to stop being electric.
Yeah.
And then he falls into the water, and everyone's like, oh, Batman.
Right.
And then 2 seconds later, he's just like, whew.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Well, there are quite a few of those like fake out death things. Like he gets shot point blank with a shotgun and gets blasted back, and it's cool, and you're like, God, what a man.
Yeah.
And then he has to take out that little thing of adrenaline or whatever.
That was so Berserker Batman.
Yeah, he's like,
I couldn't stop laughing. I was so happy. I was so excited because you see him taking out. Just
we love Berserker Batman.
Berserker Batman.
Well, and Selena's about to get.
Yeah,
she's about to get.
He's dying, but her being in danger brings him back to life, and she's like, "That's giving me life." Right. And the guy in the ground that he's punching is like, "You're taking away my life."
And they're like,
"Stop, man, stop!" They take his hat off, and you think it's going to be someone because they slowly reveal this goon. It's just a goon.
Well, I think they were wanting to reveal the brutality of what Batman almost did.
So did I, but then maybe because it's PG-13,
it wasn't that bad. Yeah. I know, because like stuff on the Marvel Daredevil show and stuff, they have they'll bash a guy's head in so bad, and I know that's a little more mature, but still, I wanted to see more of a. What
Batman just did to that man was turn his face into Pico de Gallo.
It should have, yeah, but no blood. You can't show blood, I guess.
No,
so that kind of
so strange. But give us R-rated Bat. By the way, and if you're out there writing articles about how Batman's not R-rated and how
it should be,
and how it should be, and articles about that, shut up.
You're a worthless life.
Oh, whoa!
Come on, I'm kidding. It's a comedy podcast.
You have to
first
remember,
and foremost,
no matter what we stand here, we disagree with it. When we say something that we agree with, we are usually saying that we don't agree with it.
Right. But So
Little Caesars is doing something to me,
yeah, that we're about to eat.
making me berserker just thinking about it.
He goes berserker. He bashes that guy in, and then they're like, "Who are you?" They show the guy. I'm Vengeance.
And
That will piss off Batman.
especially when he just did a bump of whatever he just shot into himself.
Yeah.
He's like,
You freaking kidding me?
That's what I say.
that's what I say.
But I love that because it shows that he realizes then it's not about vengeance. It's about hope. And that's honestly, by the end, when he does that little voiceover and he's helping the girl into the helicopter on the top of the thing, and she's grabbing onto him, and he grabs onto her, and he's giving the voiceover. He's like, I'm actually happy now, and it's actually about hope. And you have to care about people and love people. You can't push people away.
All I could think about during that scene was a video I've seen of someone being airlifted like that, and the ropes got tangled, and they're spinning around like incredibly fast.
Yeah.
And I just imagine that happening, and he's looking up and can't do anything about it as it flies away.
Okay, internet, do your thing. We need that cut. God, we need that cut.
Do it for us. Hey, we make fun of the internet a lot in this show, but God, we need something good right now, don't we?
Yes. And after this dark and laboriously depressing superhero movie, we need something so happy and bright.
Batman saw the thin blue line that separates vengeance from actually being a bad guy.
He saw that he was actually inspiring something that wasn't good.
Hey, you know what? No one ever thanked him for saving that little boy from that car.
Yeah.
If I saw a grown-ass man with dark makeup around his eyes jump in and save my son, I'd say, thanks, Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3.
Oh, thanks, emo Edward Colehan.
Oh, my God.
You would say that, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Well, and it's Bruce Wayne. Like, he's famous. That's
Yeah.
like...
Bruce Wayne saved my like they're not gonna have the guy the journalist there is not gonna stop what he's doing and go, okay,
I need to talk to that guy.
hey Bruce, over here, just so you saved that guy right over there.
Hey, and by the way, that's the mayor's son. So he's kind of famous just by being the mayor's son. Two famous guys. One was about to die. The other one saved him. I gotta talk to you.
You know what the crazy thing is? Both 35. Both 35 years old.
That's crazy.
The mayor's son and Bruce Wayne, both 35.
Couple of grown men. One saved the other.
Jesus.
Oh, God.
Save us now.
Help us, get us out of here. But I do want to say when I was leaving the movie, and we'll get back to the movie. These two people were told which theater to go to, mom and child, and the mom goes, they get to the theater and she goes, wait, why does it say Batman? Why does it say Batman on the thing? And they go back and they're like shouting at people that work there, like, why does it say Batman on the sign? And she's like, to her son, she goes, did you want to see Batman? And he's like, but no. And he's just like eating popcorn, and then he's like, Spider-Man. And they're like, we want to see Spider-Man. And the guy working there just looked at them and was just like, so confused. And she's like, we want to see Spider-Man, not Batman. And he was like, what? And I was like, what do you mean, what? They bought a ticket for Spider-Man. He sold them a ticket to Batman, and they couldn't understand the other movie that's out right now, the other biggest movie in the world at the moment.
About a man.
Thank you. So what do you think about this movie?
I like this movie a lot. Is it a little long? Yeah. Probably could have shaved off 10 fitting minutes. Mm-hmm. But I do like that, people are complaining. It's too dark. It's too dark. It's supposed to be dark.
It's supposed to be dark, and guess what? It didn't feel that long.
No, it didn't.
I'm sure watching back again, I'll be like, okay, I got that guy over there. Meaning the editor.
Yeah.
Because do I need to see Batman kind of watching Selena Kyle go in and take off her clothes?
Yeah. That's the scene I would have cut too.
And put it in my pocket and ran away with it. But he does kind of come up as a strange little creepy man.
Yeah, but I like that because I think this is the first time that Bruce Wayne is a freak.
Yeah.
That's how he should be acting, especially at this point in it. He doesn't know yet that he has to be a person.
And he also tells her.
Oh, yeah.
He can. He lets her know. He's like, full confidentiality. I saw you at your house.
And she's like, well, that's funny too.
It is?
Because he's like, is that the girl?
Yeah, she's
or
like,
whatever.
She didn't look happy
Yeah,
at your
she's
house
yeah.
earlier. Like he kept adding.
Yeah, he kept at when I was watching from the window.
My binoculars.
Tidy whities. But he can't connect to people because that part of him has died with his parents.
Yes.
I like that.
Keep it in. He's not being a weirdo.
Well, I don't mean that specifically. I just mean in general. He treats everyone like he's never met them before.
Yeah, when he's at the funeral, every time someone says his name, he gives them this look like he's a cat that just woke up. It's just like,
Yeah.
can't believe someone's in the house.
Yeah.
He's just like, Bruce Wayne, like,
Yeah.
he's out of it.
He's out of it.
Yes, we could shave a little of the movie off maybe, but for the first viewing, I like to just sit in it. I like to digest a lot of these action movies. I don't have time to digest what's coming in. They're like,
Right.
that was that, and then that huge thing just happened. It's like, but everything's like, just have something happen and let me deal with it.
Having watched Spider-Man as like the last movie that I saw,
Okay, not true.
last big movie in the theater, and then this, it's night and day. Literally.
Yeah, one I can see.
One I can
is
see, the
completely
one
dark.
is at night the whole time. But, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, it basically is all at night or in the shroud of Wayne Manor until the end when he's helping all the people off and he's had his sort of transformation, his realization that he is not a symbol of vengeance. He is not an agent of revenge. He is an agent of hope.
And
we get some light. That's nice. That's beautiful.
And that's, if you're reading the comics, and he tells you at the beginning, 2 years of night
Right.
turned me into a nocturnal animal.
Yes.
That's when this guy is awake.
Yeah.
That's why when Dingaling that lives upstairs goes, you've got to come up to brunch. He's like, what?
Yeah. You don't know. Man.
Today?
He wants to go to bed,
He
man.
wants to go to sleep.
Here's something funny. How was Selena going to drive her motorcycle out of a flooded city?
That is funny. Yeah, they split paths. It's kind of like the end of Castaway. And
Yeah.
she goes one way, and he looks at her go the other way, and she drives right into the water. But when they're having that conversation,
Yeah.
wherever they are, you
On
see
top of
this-
a building?
Yeah, you see the city behind them,
They're like,
and there's like people driving over the bridges and all this stuff. And I
Yeah.
was like, did they forget?
I think it's meant to imply that
They're working on it.
it's months later, maybe even, weeks later. I mean, we've seen flooding in our fine city.
Yes.
It's not there forever.
No, but you'll be talking about it for the next 20 years of your life.
You're damn right you will. And don't even that though. Like there's 3 minutes of they said their goodbyes and then we watch them drive their motorcycles and race each other.
They say goodbye and then keep
And then we
being together.
Yeah, and then they say goodbye again, basically. I mean, there's something there. If you want to look at it, actually, they have their human goodbye, and then their sort of masked counterpart goodbye or something like that, probably, you could say.
But that could also all be shortened up. Whatever.
Whatever.
It's not for me to tell the god Matt Reeves how to direct such a fine film. Landon? Do you got a rating for this movie? A final score
Yes, and I want to say one more thing.
out of 10 fruity cereal Kit Kat bars?
I think I'm going to rate it, and then I'm going to say one more thing.
Okay.
I give this movie an 8 out of 10.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Great.
Tell us what you were going to say now that's going to change all that.
I rewatched The Dark Knight last night.
Oh, no.
I haven't seen it in a while, and I was like, I'm in Batman mode. I want to freaking eat up all the Batman I can. Within the first minute, I just smiled and turned to my betrothed and said, "This movie's so much better."
Wow.
It's just, and I know there's a lot of, especially nowadays, there's a lot of hemming and hawing about, well, if it weren't for Heath Ledger, and it actually, if you think about the plot, it doesn't even make that much sense, and Batman isn't even doing that much stuff, and it's a great movie.
Oh,
Just
wow.
you have to just stop it, and then you want to talk about how, people now watching that movie don't know that Heath Ledger changed everyone's take on being a villain.
Right, because that's what they know now.
Yeah. So now you watch it and you probably are like, well, if he wasn't doing that, the movie's nothing. But it's actually an awesome movie. Everything's great in that movie. Now, that doesn't change the fact that I also love this movie.
But that was also the second film in that series.
Yes.
I think if they do, God willing, make the second Batman,
Absolutely, and they will.
we could get a story for our generation.
I hope we do, and I look forward to it, and I'll be in the seats on the very first day.
And I'll be in the seats as well, right next to you, or a couple days later.
Absolutely.
And now, Landon, I'm sure we're both as hungry as each other are. So thanks for listening to our review of The Batman on lunch break. It's been a long night. We've dealt with some tornadoes, and we've dealt with some grumblies from something we're going to eat in the future. So we say goodbye to you now, and we take you now to our review of the Little Caesars Calzony pizza. Okay, Landon.
Yes.
And it was so great to hear how much you hated the film.
You too, pal. I'm glad we're both in
Cahoots?
calzones. I don't know. Come on, let's just get into it.
Are you hungry after that big review?
Yes, I'm starving.
This is the cheese calzone. Okay?
Okay. And we're gonna want to.
Let me tell you what happened first. I ordered this. They have a pepperoni and a cheese. You cannot order anything else. We got the cheese because I watched a documentary once. So we got the cheese calzone. It says it comes with a poster, a little Batman poster,
Yeah.
and a crazy sauce. I walk in and I'm waiting in line because this Little Caesars has been busy this night. And I'm waiting and I see my name. It says Joey L on a board. And I'm like, what the? And it says number 3, Joey L. And underneath it is what they call the portal. I haven't been to a Little Caesars in 8 years, at least.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 10.
Yeah, me too.
So they have a portal, and you have to have a QR code to scan on this little portal.
Oh, my God.
My phone was in the car, so I run out of there like an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and I have to do this. Oh,
Shoot, my QR code.
my QR code's in the car. So I go get it, hold it up in front of this thing. I scan it, and it says, number 3, cheese calzone, Joey L. And then number 3, the door goes,
Whoa.
and opens up to an entirely metal rack. You have to slowly get your hands in and pull the little tab because the whole thing's
it's
hot and ready.
And ready.
So I was like, oh, maybe I could have ordered this earlier and it just would have sat in here.
Yeah.
Whatever. I get out to the car. First, I realize, well, there's no poster in this oven. It's probably not in here.
No.
And I can't ask the
You're
guy.
not going to go back in and be like,
I'm still in there. I'm kind of looking at the
you're still in
door
there?
and
Okay. You're like, where's my poster?
hey, there's no poster. And then what? Like if the guy's like, sorry, we're out. Then it's like, oh, no problem.
No problem. I'm 30.
We're just oh, cool, thanks. And I saw they were very small.
They're tiny. They're the size of a box.
So I get out to the car and I open this up just to take a peek. No crazy sauce. So
Ah.
I have to go back in. And the guy's like, hey, how's it going? Whatever. And someone else comes in front of me.
No.
She's using the portal. And the guy goes, thanks for using our portal.
You didn't
I
get
didn't
that?
yeah.
You know, that's like in Batman Begins when Gordon is like, how am I going to thank you? And Batman's like, you'll never have to. That's kind of you. You were Batman in that situation.
They didn't have
because
to
you
thank me
say-
for using it, mainly because they forced me into that position.
Yeah.
They put my hand behind my back and held it in a way that it hurt your arm.
Yeah, and your nipple too.
And so I go back in and I say, I just got I got a pizza from you, but there was no crazy sauce. So he hands me a big jug of crazy sauce.
Yeah.
And then the lady goes, excuse me, my breadsticks aren't in my portal. And I had to get the hell out of there.
You gotta just turn and run.
I was like, uh-oh, she's mad because the portal is not what she thought it was.
So show the viewer at home what this thing looks like. This is the dum 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 dum.
I am 2,300 calories.
Oh no! And I just started my diet this morning.
The ends of this thing are gooping out.
So what is this? So a calzone typically is.
Should I read the description?
Yeah,
Or-
let's try not to do a fun little freaking riddle.
The
for this.
Wriggler, he said something about it being rogue, and he said
Yeah,
it
what-
sounds like a crime family. Did they name it this because it's like Maroni?
Falcone.
Maroni Falcone. Doesn't this seem a little like they're just kind of...
They're like, hey, what's Italian?
Yeah.
But also, well,
Falcone,
maybe we already talked about it in the review
Maroni.
episode. I won't bring it back up.
Calzony.
We probably already talked about this, so never mind.
Okay, don't even talk about it.
Yeah, no need.
Hold on. I have
This
to
is
get...
hard.
So first I have to go through delivery or pickup. Basically, it's a pizza.
It's a cheese pizza.
And then there's garlic, buttery
flaky
cream
crust
or something
and
coming out of it.
cream, yeah.
So
It looks, can I just say, it looks absolutely disgusting. Disgusting.
it's already cold. If there's one thing I remember about Little Caesars, it's that it's already cold even if it's hot and ready. It kind of has the texture and it holds itself up well, like a piece of pizza you get from school.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
look at
then-
that. That's as...
So this is just a cheese pizza. This slice.
Yeah, yeah. And this is as hard and somehow as soft as Robert Pattinson's body in this movie. It's like, is he freaking chiseled or is he not? Because I heard he wasn't working out during quarantine. And I was so mad when I heard that.
He probably wasn't working out, but the suit does so much work for you.
Yeah, you don't have to work out.
Especially when
I wouldn't work out either. I can be Batman.
he wears a big oversized coat most of the time.
Yeah, at the premiere. Did you see that? Look it up. Funny.
Okay. This is...
So what are we doing? So we need to try the big knots at the end.
crazy sauce?
No, please. So this is just a normal cheese pizza.
Yeah, it's the disgusting...
It's the
knots
disgusting
on the end that you have to eat.
the head and the ass of the bat.
The sauce tastes like it's from the refrigerator.
It is the Little Caesars refrigerator. There's nothing crazy about this sauce.
No, I wish they wouldn't call it crazy sauce. I really wish they wouldn't do that.
And it's not like Little Caesars. It's crazy. We call it crazy sauce. Call it freaking... Who's Caesar?
Do you want them to call it Caesar dressing?
Oh, that's right. I guess he's already famous for another liquid that he slurps all over you. Caesar, gross.
And don't call it that because, like, when my family comes to visit from, like, a podunk town, and they're like, we don't have a Little Caesars. They see this place and they're like, crazy sauce. They think they're getting something that they can't get out of a bucket. Thank you. from their like local gas station. Thank you.
Exactly. So here's what I always say about pizza, though. I like pizza. In my opinion, it's hard to mess up pizza. Like even this, it's not great pizza. I still like it though. I'm still gonna eat it.
Now, when I put the order in, it said roughly you need to come pick it up in 20 minutes. This tastes like it has been sitting out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not fresh.
How do they make this? I guess they just make a pizza and they cut 2 of the slices and roll them up.
Is that it, you think?
I think so.
I don't think they make the pizzas there. I think they're like frozen. And they just...
So far, this is bad. So get your knot.
You want me to get one?
Landon's taking a knot. He's going for the smaller one. They're cut, so it's not terrible.
Just looking at it. Oh my God. I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking. Because I don't want to ruin your appetite.
Very garlicky, very buttery.
Ugh. Just the texture alone makes me want to jump off a cliff.
Too much cheese.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Too much garlic. Too much everything.
Why would a studio allow this to happen? You put out arguably the best Batman film of the past 20 years,
Certainly.
and this is your tie-in.
Yeah. They give it to the worst pizza company ever.
The Little Caesars Calzony.
They'll do anything, though.
Who? WB?
Money people that want
That's
money.
true. Money people will do anything for money, which is kind of what the movie's about, ironically.
Huh. Yeah. I guess you're right.
Landon, what do you give this?
I give the regular pizza a 0.6.
I give the regular pizza a 0.4.
Wow. I mean, yeah, it's bad pizza.
You
but
can
I'll
make
eat it.
a better. I'm not buying into this DiGiorno's BS that you can think that that's takeout, but I can make a better pizza at home than this frozen.
Oh, for sure. The garlic thing, I give like a 0.3. The texture makes me want to puke. I can't eat it. What do you give the garlic part?
This is all we have to eat. You know what? I give the garlic part a 0.4.
Uh-huh.
I give the pizza a 0.5.
Okay, there we go. Because you want to know what the garlic part makes me think of?
What?
I'm going to say it, and then you probably won't be able to
That's
eat
fine.
it after this. I'm going to let you get one more bite because it looks like you're going for it.
Are you going to say snot?
No.
All right.
You ever watch those cyst popping videos? That's all I can think of when I'm looking at this. And I put it in my mouth. Makes me want to puke.
God. Good garlic, though.
I love this pizza. Well, anyway, so that's
our review episode. And we probably already said, our thank yous and our much ado's about nothing at the end of the regular part of the episode. But we hope you enjoy this, and please don't buy this.
don't buy the pizza, but do buy a ticket to see the Batman.
And get the popcorn at the movie, or get the bat head.
The bat. If you're going to AMC,
the vessel.
make sure to get the Batman vessel where you can eat about a cup's worth of popcorn out of the guy's head. And thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.